Hello, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful stream. The XR rule stream is finally going. This is take 2 because I successfully managed to screw up and not press the go live button. I am here with Hassan, Mark, and Tom from my previous stream. They are here to make sure that I don't go completely insane or have a stroke in the middle of the rules, and to provide me maybe some different perspective. Hassan, Mark, Tom, say hello to the crowd.
Hi guys, good to be back.
Hello to the crowd. It's a pleasure to be joining you once again, this time fully charged with wine.
Mark? Mark?
Yeah, Dark, sorry. I was having to deal with various other internet things. I do apologize. Greetings,
So Mark is
all.
already drunk. Perfect.
Oh.
All right, everybody, I did want to say that this stream is brought to you by alcohol. Yes, alcohol, that wonderful chemical that human civilization is in fact built on. If you find somebody who doesn't like alcohol, they don't like human civilization. And by Slimeball Industries, creator of the coal-powered turtleneck sweater. Anyway, gentlemen, let us begin our torture. I want to say hello to Adam, Katie, and Anthony, who are the first 3 people to come in and watch us go through this. Now, as you're all going to see on the stream, on the right side are the XR rulebook, and on the left is going to be the main rulebook so we can do comparisons. I don't know how long we're going to go. We're going to try our best without getting too drunk. I do have alcohol waiting for me right now, in front of me right now, to help me get through it. But unfortunately, 2 bottles, so hopefully I will not need to go and get more. Gentlemen, can you see the rules that I have streaming to you?
I can see left column and most of the right column, yes.
Okay, I have it zoomed in so the people who are watching can follow along. So a lot of what we can see is just the nomenclature is being updated. I'm going to try to go to the actual additions, because that's really what matters. Anything that's changed is just generally revised to be more clear. And this is something that actually Excalibur is really good at. He is very good at explaining things and reformatting things to make sense. Like, this is a great example. All ordnance, special torpedo bombers, mines are included in the main rules and distributed out to different fleets on a case-by-case basis for what they can take. I like this because finding the torpedo rules is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I've probably used them like once or twice because they're just hidden somewhere in like the fleet book, I think, at the minute.
Currently, they're buried somewhere in the main fleet book. Another one, the clarification that melta torpedoes inflict a fire result regardless of the target's actual critical hits table. Another great example. This is a good change, a good addition. This is a clarification that we do need because there are, in fact, critical hits on critical hits tables that don't have fires or anything like fires. So this is, again, a good change. Okay.
My first observation just at this point, purely on aesthetics from this document, is it looks, in terms of typeface and layout, and specifically the choice of magenta to note recent changes, is very reminiscent of GW FAQs for 40k and Warhammer Fantasy, sort of circa 2003 to 2008 or so. So this looks aesthetically very familiar.
Yep. And again, Excalibur knows his formatting. I got to give him absolute props for that because it's instantly recognizable to anybody who's played BFG because this is how the BFG FAQs were really handled initially. So the first real changes is right here. Vessels locked down in a drawn combat cannot disengage while combat is ongoing. Also specified that the locked ships fight their boarding action separately from any new ones. Hello, Eldar, not knowing what fire is. We are the Tyranids and we have Pyroacid. Thank you, Anthony. So basically making it abundantly clear that vessels that are locked down in a drawn combat cannot disengage. Now that I actually really, really like as a rule because it's not like they can disengage because the element of disengaging is basically everyone's turning off the lights and going quiet, right? So I like this addition. This is actually a good rule, which means I have to drink.
Oh, here we go.
So would that also mean that you lock ships fight their boarding actions separately from new ones. So could a ship be involved in multiple simultaneous boarding actions?
That's actually an interesting. That's a good question. I don't know if that's addressed here, though, because if it's
As I say,
separate,
even within the base rules, yes.
yeah, because nominally in the current set of rules, if somebody is locked in a boarding action and another ship goes in to board with it, it just happens in the same boarding action. It just adds on.
It becomes a multiple ship boarding action.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know necessarily. I don't know why that would be separate. So, okay, it's no longer good. It's neutral because there's no reason to do this separately if more people board into it. It just is another ship. It just modifies the boarding values. Lars Nielsen says, "Hey, all XR rules, new and better rules, the living version of BFG rules. I'm not sure what this is about." Lars, we are going over Battlefleet Gothic XR, and we are commenting, saying good, saying bad, because BFG XR is probably the most popular fan-made rules, and there have been a lot of problems with people who play XR trying to claim that these rules are better than the core rulebook, or they're trying to replace the core rules with XR. So I decided, why don't we actually all go through the rules and see if they're actually better? Maybe we'll like them more than the original rules, which could potentially be a problem. All right, the next edition, gentlemen. Updated rules say you cannot make a teleport attack on your opponent's turn. I don't know how I feel about this.
It feels like a common sense kind of. Well, no, because you couldn't make one on your opponent's turn anyway.
As far as I was aware, you couldn't.
Could you? Oh. Where's
Hold on.
my copy of the actual?
Let's actually look at the actual rules. I know that teleport attacks happen at the end phase.
Remastered.
Yeah, I think it does. I know
What's up,
that it clarifies
aerodynamism?
that you can't initiate a boarding action in your opponent's turn, but can't recall teleport attacks. There's
End
only one
phase.
person that uses them religiously.
Blah blah blah.
See, personally,
boarding action.
I do not mind teleport attacks happening from both sides. It's not like the people in the end phase, because end phase and ordnance phase are both phases where both players act, right?
Yes, you can both repair and so forth. So are we? They're sort of philosophically saying that the end phase is a shared phase for both fleets.
Yeah, there's still a turn order. The person whose nominal turn it is will go first, but actions on both sides of the fleet happen in the end phase because both sides repair, both sides are doing boarding actions in these times. So yeah, I mean they're sort of shared. They are sort of shared.
Yeah, because I'm reading it now. It says a ship may make a teleport attack in the end phase against an enemy ship that has no shields within 10 centimeters. To be honest, I think it's the no shields thing that's the biggest issue because most of the time, most of the time, unless they've had a shield collapse, they're going to have in their own end phase. Your enemy is going to have their shields.
Well, it really it applies more to very specific races that are really good at teleport attacks, so things like Necron, Space Marines. Personally, I don't think I like this rule because I think this is taking away the power from specific races. It's minor because it happens so rarely, but the end phase is a shared phase.
Yeah, so I think teleport attacks are disappointing because they're so prevalent in the lore. And so evocative, but they're actually quite difficult to pull off. So I'm slightly in favor of more teleport attacks, just in general. So I'm minorly sympathetic to this.
Yeah. Okay.
I do love, even though they're 50 points, I do love my Terminators. Just on a barge, you throw it into the enemy and just go ham. Yeah.
I can understand the logic behind the change, purely because it's like boarding actions. You can't initiate a boarding action on your opponent's turn. So I can understand the logic behind doing the same with teleport attacks.
Well, but you can initiate hit and run attacks on the turn, and boarding is not the same as hit and run because remember, if you have ordnance, if you hit and run ordnance on the table and it's not your turn, you can still initiate hit and runs.
Yeah, but that's ordnance, which I still count separately to this.
I personally don't because hit and runs they're very different than boarding. It's a very different scenario. It's a difference between a huge number of people dumping onto a ship and a surgical team of people dumping onto a ship. I'm gonna say I personally don't like this, but I think the council is somewhat divided, if that's a fair statement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased because I mostly play Marines, so.
Fair. Being biased is okay in this scenario. All right, we're on to blast markers. Now, this is something that I really do not like right here. Both the classic blast marker rules and modern entire base blast marker rules are included. Players may choose which style to use. I disagree with that. We should not be giving the players a choice. Because that right there is just a way to, one, make games not be standardized in an area that's very important to this game. This 100% should be, there is one set of rules, everyone has to follow it, because this can and will change your tactics when you play the game.
Yeah, I mean, the blast markers are one of the core mechanics of Battlefleet Gothic. It's like you can't mess around with that.
Yeah. So, separate rules so a lot of these involve the changes involving blast markers and fanning. Blast plays to denote hits made in the same turn against ships' shields cannot ever overlap. I have a problem with this right here because this has no bearing whatsoever in. Yes, Anthony, there are different blast marker rules. I don't like this because this has no bearing on people actually playing with minis. Do you have any idea how hard it is sometimes to not have them overlap? They are fanned out in the normal way around the ship's base with the narrow end facing away from the ship's peg. It's basically the same thing as it is now, but never overlap. That I can't agree with. There's no way to actually make that possible, at least in my opinion.
It makes Eldar hollow fields an absolute nightmare to resolve. Just because if they can't overlap, then what do you do with all of the extras? One ship has passed 12, 14 hollow field saves. You're creating this massive cloud of blast markers now.
Well, you only roll once for blast markers. As far as I'm aware.
But physically you can have rings and rings and rings of it. I mean, it looks funny, but but from a game design perspective, it's probably not great.
Yeah. Also, what they do to Eldar in this, maybe we'll get to that. Is so offensive to me that I'm gonna probably be drunk by the time we get there. Anyway. Fan blast marks must avoid overlapping nearby ships, which this I disagree with. Because placing your blast markers to knock down multiple shields is definitely a tactical element of the game.
Hang on, even that's not legal in remastered, unless the ship's bases are overlapping. You can't do that even in remastered.
Right? No, actually, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to go through the blast marker rules so much before August.
Oh, that's good. It's good for us to know. Yeah, we're experts here, everybody. Okay. Now this is something that I am dreading. We're into assembling the fleet. Some factions now have access to escorts with 2 hits each.
Ew. I don't.
Fuck.
Why?
Okay, there. I'm drinking now.
Now you have my attention, meme.
Yep. Added a rule explicitly preventing a single ship or squadron from having multiple commanders on board. This I don't necessarily mind. There should be a standard chain of command. I don't really I can imagine circumstances where this would happen, but it's the whole point of taking a secondary commander is so you don't have to have another commander with that ship, right? But I could see this. I don't mind this being added. This is kind of meh for me.
I'm too used to playing Chaos that already had that rule anyway, so
yeah. Let's see.
So, question: and is there anything in the fleet book that says you can't like buy 2 admirals in an Imperial Navy list? Thinking about that question.
I don't think so. Let me quickly check.
I think the verbiage might specify a fleet admiral.
Yeah, I think I think the verbiage is specific for purchase a fleet admiral, or you may include. Most of them say you may include 1 admiral in your fleet, and then there are usually secondary admirals or secondary fleet commanders that you can purchase depending on the fleet. Okay.
Gothic sector. You may include 1 fleet admiral. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Everything in squadrons is just most have a 0 or 1 rule, says Anthony Dale. Yep. Okay, so everything involving assembling the fleet is normal, squadrons is normal, just re-explained again. Oh, what's this? An alternative then. I'm still struck with the regular rules to move this conversation. Love your work, to make it sense. Okay, thanks, Lars. I mean, yeah. If you ever get onto the Discord, if you're ever trying to figure out, if you get onto the Discord, I may have time to come and actually teach you the rules. Aerodynamism. What's wrong with 2 HP escorts? Ragdoll Fleet Lost has them. The answer to that is I don't mind them if they are in a fleet where it's very specific for them to have it, to make it a gimmick of the fleet. Making it broad across races that don't deserve it or don't need it, that's different. It depends on where we see them. I didn't say it was necessarily bad, it's just concerning. Heavy escorts bring up a lot of problems in the design of the game. So we'll have to find them and comment on them, aerodynamism, which hopefully we'll get to. Okay. Down to ordnance. Okay. They do have a allies chart now, which we'll get to, which is interesting. Actually, I want to go to that allies section in a moment. Let's go to it now. Let's see if we can find the allies section here, because they actually demonstrate who you're allowed to take reserves from as allies. Here, hold on.
That's interesting. Allies, yeah, like old 40k used to have allies and what have you,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, here we go. Allies of convenience. So, basically, you're allowed to take specific aliens in your as reserves, I guess. Here, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Allies of convenience. Fleet may access outside the faction. Is be available in fleet itself, allowing the reserves. Allies of convenience are not integrated to the fleet. So I don't think this is actually any different than things are now. It just you could take Grey Knights, Rogue Traders, Minor Xeno. Yeah, nothing actually is different here. Yeah, it's just this entire page is actually not necessary because it's already described in the individual fleet list rules. So let me quickly go back. Okay,
just for clarification, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Ordnance. Change the rule that ordnance is hit only on a 6. Okay, there's nothing new with that. They already are only hit on a 6.
Doesn't that affect bombardment cannons?
It does.
No, because bombardment cannons specifically say they hit on a 4+. So
yeah. So I think,
and including ordnance. So no.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's going to affect it. Let me see. Here we go. This is something that I really wanted to talk about. Okay. 1. Resilient fighters now continue to attack any enemy ordnance they are in contact with until they are removed or no more enemy ordnance is left. Which means if your resilient ones go in, they can't stop attacking. And they can't just turn around and leave if they don't like it. So
they fight until they die.
They fight until they die. To me, I'm kind of a shrug because typically when you send resilient stuff in to intercept, you want everything there to be dead, but it does take power away from the player. And it does kind of assume that your fighters and fighter pilots are too stupid to listen to their commander when they say go do something else. But yeah,
Because I mean, when I'm thinking like with Thunderhawks, right? When you send them in, you can choose the order they fight. So you can use their resilient saves first, and then sort of use their regular attack, if that makes sense. So
yeah, they can move in the next ordnance phase. They can move into another ship and use their assault boat. Which if this says no, you can't. Now this is a big difference. This is something that I actually really, really like. The turret suppression rules. So for each surviving fighter in the wave, which means if it's shot down, it doesn't apply. Treat one bomber as making 3 fixed attacks regardless of the target's turret value instead of rolling randomly. Bombers are able to reroll their attack, make 4 fixed attacks instead. I like this much better than turret suppression as it stands for BFG. This is way easier to understand. Maybe the number is too high. I would maybe say 2 fixed and 3 if they were skilled. Aerodynamism. Yeah, aerodynamism. I will go over that in a separate stream. Trust me, I will be talking about Battlefleet Heresy in the future. No, it's perfectly
Yeah.
fine. But what do you guys think of this?
Well, I really would like Mark's opinion on this, but considering the struggle that I've had with the rules for bombers, for fighter bombers, and so forth, it seems to me the worst written, worst example thing in
Oh yeah,
the
it's
current
horrible.
rulebook. So a rewrite in general, just for clarity's sake, I think would be valid. So I'd be very interested to see what Mark's take is on this particular different way of doing it.
I do tend to agree that I think the number is a little bit too high. The main thing for me coming away with this, it actually gives a reason for fleets like Tau to actually bring fighters with their bombers. Having resilient bombers means that it's often just better to bring yet more bombers rather than stick fighters in there.
Mm.
I'm not sure on this one, if I'm honest, but that could just be me being very resilient to change.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
fair. We all are. But what I like about this is that it's very simple. It's very clear. It's very simple, and it gives. And what I like is that the fighter has to survive. Because right now, if you throw fighters into that squadron, doesn't matter if they die.
Mm.
You still get the benefit of the suppression. Okay.
Yeah. Turret
Dem-
suppression is pretty confusing at the minute.
yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
very, very poorly written. Okay. Clarification on 2-hit escorts not being immune to being crippled, and do not roll for critical hits if damaged by hit and run raid. I guess we'll have to find what those ships are. Clarified that brace for impact is rolled before rolling Nova Cannon scatter. That's already in the rules. I don't know why they had to. I guess clarification's sake.
Yeah.
Catastrophic damage explosions will now remove all ordnance markers within the radius. I like this rule. I agree with this rule.
Instant sunshine is bad for small things.
It is. And right now we have to roll. I mean, maybe I can kind of visualize the fighters dodging flying debris, but not necessarily like the plasma of an explosion or being sucked into the warp. So I like that rule.
You could say that it's just like, luck, because I mean, it's not like the entire 100% of the area will be filled with like plasma. Like it'll be shooting out at random, isn't it? So
yeah,
maybe it should be hit on like a 4 or something.
On a game cleanliness thing, it's like I kind of like anything that removes what I consider sort of unnecessary marginal dice rolls. So it removes busy work. It just goes, just take them off. And it makes explosions more dramatic, more devastating, potential, for both sides. So it adds to drama and reduces busy work. So I like this because explosions are cool.
The explosions are cool. I'm a big fan of explosions.
I like the clarification for one thing, and that's purely because it then actually says that the catastrophic damage table does affect ordnance, because that's not anywhere in the main book.
Yeah.
There's bits where it says that if the ordnance is removed by an explosion, but it never says an explosion that can remove ordnance.
Yeah. Clarification would be nice, but the way that I see it is they still count as enough to be a ship to be shot at, and therefore you can shoot them with the lances of an explosion.
Yeah, that's how we play it, but yeah, it's still not the clearest thing in the world.
Okay, so there are not a lot of changes made in the area around defenses. Most of these just clarifications. Fire ships have been made more difficult, more dangerous to use. They cannot be voluntarily detonated while braced. Fire ships send a command check with all head full with a -1 leadership penalty. Jonathan Stephenson makes a good point. You can equally imagine any survivors in fighters and bombers being forced to return because all their sensors and radars are foobarred from the explosion. I can buy that.
Yeah, that sounds plausible.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't really know. I haven't used fire ships a lot.
Oh, they're nasty little buggers, they are.
Yeah, so now they cannot be voluntarily detonated while braced. Are all head full -1. Fire ships must roll a d6 before being destroyed. On a score of 6, they are detonated as per their special rules rather than just being destroyed. So they're more volatile. Shooting them is dangerous.
See, I don't like that because I think fire ships are a choice to a defender who's normally already or in a scenario where the fleet using them is normally at a disadvantage anyway. So just like suck it up. They're fire ships. They'll hurt your lovely painted ships, and it'll be fun. Again,
Yeah.
explosions.
I think
Leave them alone. Unnecessary change.
I think that right here, this is the last one that I really jumped out at me. Add clarification that support units cannot ever be part of a squadron with regular warship. Namely, so if you have any fleet defense escorts, like system ships, you cannot add them with warships. Transports, Q ships, system ships, things like that can never be squadron with regular warships.
I assume that rogue traders will then override this rule.
I really hope so. We'll have to see, because guess what? We're going on to ships of the Imperium! Yay! So the very first thing that we're going to be doing when it comes to the actual ships and their changes, we're going to go ship by ship. I'm going to activate the standard rules, and we're going to talk about the changes, if there are any. Okay? Some changes are more dramatic than others, so as you can see between these two, they are the exact same points, but we already have a pretty dramatic change in this. We have the same exact point value, but the ranges on the are set to 60. Dorsal weapon batteries increased to 9.
Launches further than place of blast. Oh.
Okay, so basically what we're looking at here. Hey, Adler Shipyard! I need you to throw me a message on Discord. I need to talk with you. I've been trying to contact you non-stop and you aren't responding. It's about Book of the Void 3. Wanted to ask one off-topic question. Do you care about the incoming second edition of Drop Fleet Commander? I didn't know that there was a second edition. Jonathan, if you could send me a message about that in Discord so I can look it up, I'm definitely interested. Okay, so the audience can see right now the differences between these two ships on the Apocalypse. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on both so we can see the stat differences. The points are the same. So this is interesting because this was this is literally a piece of history for many people that don't know it. The Apocalypse in XR is one argument of fixing the Apocalypse in 2010, and the Apocalypse on the other side was a separate solution. Weirdly enough, I think I was the one that proposed the solution in the main rulebook. Which is the difference is how do you manage the long range option for the Apocalypse battleship? Which is I suggested very similar rules to the ones in the original rulebook, which is if you shoot a certain distance, you suffer thrusters critical damage. Now, I said just don't have it take the damage, but you have to repair it. Another suggestion was if you shoot longer than 30, you place a blast marker at the rear arc of your ship in the shooting phase. So these are two separate options. But one thing I can't help but notice is they did make the dorsal firepower greater, but they didn't actually increase the point cost.
I don't know if I like the XR changes in this one. I
hate the fact they're putting a blast marker down. That doesn't feel right to me.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the blast marker.
It also made it a lot more maneuverable as well, because you don't need to lock on to get the full range.
Yeah.
Nah, because I mean the lock on is kind of a thematic thing because you're putting all power to the guns instead of the engines, right? And so then you can shoot further.
So it's an immersion thing for you.
So partly that, yeah, mostly an immersion thing actually.
So
I mean, its points cost compared to its firepower will depend on the balance of every other ship that they bring out, right? Because this can be different, but so can everything else. But this whole you randomly put a blast marker down and turn a shield off and reduce your movement. I'm like, I think it's trying to do an elegant restriction by using the core mechanics of blast markers, but I don't like it. It just feels wrong. I prefer the way we have it set up here, where it's more of a tactical choice to push your ship to make greater efforts, as opposed to sort of be breaking. It kind of, yeah.
So it's the difference
Right.
of farting really hard and throwing really far, or making the tactical choice and potentially burning out your ship.
Exactly.
I'm going to say that when I look at these, they're both trying to do exactly the same thing. One is just a little more elegant. And weirdly enough, the core rulebook has the more elegant option.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
on
I can
to
agree
the
with that.
Oberon. Now, this is where I'm going to start swearing. Okay. The Oberon battleship in the original rulebook and the new Oberon. What is the biggest difference that we all see? Look at that.
I'm just waiting for the stream to update. What have they changed? Let's have a look.
All weapons are now 60.
Oh. Okay.
So they have the in XR, they have deigned to increase the point cost by 20 points.
Mhm.
Uh,
60, 60.
and increase the dorsal weapons from 45 to 60.
I don't intrinsically see a problem with that.
I see giant problem. A
Well,
massive
no.
problem that just I have to drink. Hold on.
I was going to say, it's like, I mean, congratulations, it's now a Chaos battleship because it's a long-range fire platform with no downsides. So, yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Oberon battleship was meant to be a cheap jack-of-all-trades battleship. The XR version, why the fuck would I take anything else?
Yeah, precisely.
Give me a reason to take the Apocalypse beyond it has a Nova Cannon. I can take Nova Cannons all throughout this fleet. This thing has 60 centimeter lances with no negatives. This thing has a strength 16, weapons battery option in the broadside, and 2 lances, and the capacity to take torpedo bombers, assault boats. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, and not only that, the cost of the Shark assault boats is the exact same. So why would I want to spend 20 more points when I can take the exact same battleship for way cheaper and fit in more stuff in my fleet? The old Oberon unironically is better than the new Oberon, and they overpowered the new one.
60 weapon magic, arms magic. Yeah. Well, yeah. This can do everything. Because an
Have they
emperor has
changed the
16
Have,
firepower.
have they changed the Emperor at all?
Oh, we're gonna find out, kiddies. So, okay, about Oberon, we're on to the Retribution. Oh dear, this is gonna probably give me another coronary. Okay. Oh, where the heck is it? Emperor Retribution. Oh yeah, we can notice a big difference here. I hope everyone watching can see this too.
We've got a slight time delay on the stream, so we wait with bated anticipation for it to catch up.
Yeah, it takes a couple of seconds for it to figure itself out.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is. Oh, for 10 points more. Oh my god.
Yeah, 10 points more, 6 more strength in the firepower. A complete misunderstanding of the nature of the Retribution. The Retribution battleship is meant to be cheap. It is meant to be good at killing cruisers. It's not meant to be this. And even still, I'd still take the Oberon over it.
Oh wow. I actually, because when I'm using a Retribution, my general game plan is to throw it into the center of the enemy fleet as fast as possible. Oh wow. Yeah, that an 18 firepower would be a massive game changer in how useful it is.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It would change it would entirely change its purpose in the fleet.
Oh yeah.
Because currently the Retribution is meant to be a rear line small ship killer. It's the mirror of the Desolator battleship. It has a great torpedo, which is actually really good at hurting battleships. That's what its main anti-battleship weapon is. But everything else is meant to hurt cruisers and allow all of your other ships to synergize with it to do a lot of damage. This is just meant to go in and fuck things up on its own. I just don't understand. Oh, they also reduced the range of the battleships, if you hadn't noticed. So port starboard weapon is 45. So
I don't know. I really like. I mean, in isolation, I like the change, but I get this. I know it's a bad change, but you know, you always have that, fantasy of just the battleship going and smacking everything. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I get it. I understand. But all right,
Hmm.
moving on. The victory. Did we have the victory? I think they added the victory. They did. Right. The victory is basically, as far as I can tell, just the better version of the apocalypse. I never liked the victory. Um, they appear to be almost. This is basically just another version of the apocalypse without the burden of the lances. I think
Hmm.
this goes into their version of Battlefleet Baka. And I think we can say it has the same problem as the Apocalypse change. There's no reason to give it a stronger dorsal weapons battery for
Yeah.
10
What do they?
points.
9. Why?
Well,
I think
unless this is a sort of, it seems to be the theme of the firepower thus far has been about 50% higher. If that's consistent over everything, that's going to change a lot of numbers, but I'm still reserving judgment.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to prioritize model removal by making things more lethal. But
Also, to a degree, offsetting some people, especially newer players. I mean, I had this experience. Feel that the gunnery and gunnery tables can be a bit anemic if you're just firing single ship into single ship and not using squadrons and combining fire. So I can get I can get the impetus to look at this as an issue.
right, but at that point that's simply a matter of inexperience in the game, right? Because
Oh
you
yeah.
need to learn how to combine your firepower to make effective fire, right?
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
the Vevictus, I don't think the Vevictus has a equivalent in the main rules, because this is a character ship. So I mean, the Vevictus is freaking good. 4 lances each side, 6 weapons batteries each side, and a prow torpedo of 6. Fuck, that's awesome. It's probably a
Hmm.
character ship only meant to go into one Imperial Navy fleet. But I mean, I take it. That's
Yeah, that's a good
amazing.
looking ship.
Yeah. That's basically everything you could ever want. I'm just actually that does remind me.
It's a
it's meant to
super
be.
lunar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is an Uber Lunar, isn't it? It reminds me of the Victory. It's like a version of, yeah, Anthony Dale. I thought I saw this. This is similar to the Victory battleship. Which is very similar. It doesn't have the port and starboard weapons batteries. It just has the strength 4 port and starboard lances and the prow. This is a prow Nova
Missing the
cannon.
dorsal. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a dorsal weapon battery. It's okay. I mean, it's a thing. I don't know if it has a very effective because it can take a strength 9 torpedo. It's sort of similar. It must be something that involves um, a character ship. Okay. It's going into Grand Cruisers, and now we're going to get into another area where I'm going to have a aneurysm. Okay. The Exorcist. So I
Say
am
again, Mark.
Yeah, if it's anything to do with those upgrades down at the bottom, I could not believe reading that when I first saw it.
What do you mean?
Let's see.
Allowing this specific class of ship to actually have weapons on that prow, I just do not like that idea at all. It's
Nope.
not what that prow is.
Nope.
Hmm.
Nope. Okay, so there are a couple of other problems that I have with the Exorcist, and this also applies to the Retribution. So, have any of you guys actually used an Exorcist before?
Nope.
Okay. I highly recommend it. Exorcists are a lot of fun. They're really good combining with uh they're really good with combining with like an Oberon because it puts your carrier capacity into a super strong platform, right? Durable, because carriers are universally one of the first things that are focused on when fire. Put it into a Grand Cruiser or a battleship, it makes it harder to kill. That's why I take the Exorcist. Also, Exorcists can take Shark Assault Boats, the only other carrier beyond the 2 battleships that can, right?
Mm.
So, really what the Exorcist is just a really durable carrier, and it's cheap too. It's 10 points more expensive than a dictator. So there's good reason to take it when you can. Look at what they do in XR. They give it launch capacity 6.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But then they bump the points up.
By 30 points.
Is it just change for the sake of change? What's the point?
Well, not only that, if I take the 25 point upgrade, make that a 285 carrier, why would I ever take any of the battleships? Because now I have a super dictator. I have 45 centimeter port and starboard weapon batteries, or I can increase them to 10, I believe, still. Yeah, I can increase them to 10 at 30 centimeters. And then I can have a strength 6 prow torpedo and launch capacity 6. I now have a super dictator. I no longer need any battleship that the Imperial Navy has at all. I just don't need it. And it's cheaper than them by a long shot if my interest is having an aggressive battleship. Also, yes, those upgrades down at the bottom are fucking offensive. These ships are transitional vessels. They're meant to be going from one design to another.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of, like Mark said, I'm not a fan of the prow stuff on it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have a prow weapon.
No, also it changes the entire balance dynamic of this ship in every way. Because it suddenly now is better than any alternative. Would you take this with prow torpedoes or a Mars?
This?
Easily this. Launch capacity 6, Shark Assault Boats.
I take with the communication uplinks for the plus leadership for the rolling reload.
Yeah. Yeah, it completely overbalances the purpose of these things. So we're going to go on to the next one, the Vengeance, and it has the exact same loadout, exact same points, same options. I think we're all going to agree all of these have this problem of that prow weapon option.
Yeah, they've got an extra problem on top of that, if I'm honest.
Say that again?
I think they've got an extra problem on top of that.
Go ahead.
They've changed the type so it's not Grand Cruiser, which means you can suddenly squadron this with a Dauntless.
You can. Good eye.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Surely that's just a mistake, right?
Let's check. Nope. They're all cruisers.
Oh, dear.
Yep. That means you can have a blade of light cruisers, baby.
Because I'm just thinking, like, you chuck something with a 6-up, like a lunar in front of it.
Yeah.
Or... Damn.
Yep. Oh, yep. I mean, throwing a lunar right in front of it would probably give you problems with your torpedoes, but does that really matter at this point?
No, because what I'm thinking is if you have that something with the 6-up prow in front of it, right, then they can't shoot at your Grand Cruiser. Because they gotta get through that 6-up prow.
Yep, they have to get through the 6-up prow. Yep. So just take a Endeavor with the 6-up prow upgrade.
Yeah,
problem solved.
Exactly. They can just eat the shots for you.
Okay. Here we go. This is one of my favorite ones. The Avenger. Now, I'm going to admit to chat, I love the Avenger. I'm a big fan of it. It is among the worst ships of the Imperial Navy. I don't care. It's a hilarious ship. And boy, oh boy, the things they do to it here are offensive.
What? 20 firepower?
Yep.
What?
And the same point cost. Same point cost,
yeah, but ironically, it's getting shortchanged considering other things like the battleships are getting 50% more firepower, and
exactly.
This is only getting extra 4. I think they're selling it short. Why does it not have 24 firepower?
Exactly, right?
I think it's because the Avenger's getting it free.
Intervention.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, this is a great combo with the improved thrusters, but It should never have them.
Nah.
Oh, okay. We're on to the main battle cruiser.
All right.
And
Yeah, so at the moment it's now getting this rule set's getting negative marks for being inconsistent internally. If you're going to add like 50% to weapons batteries to everything, fair enough. The fact that you haven't done that and now it's being selective, don't like that.
okay, so we're gonna go into the other mainline battle cruisers, and a lot of these are effectively the same with like minor points differences. So the Mars is identical as far as I can tell. It can take the targeting matrix, it can take the turrets. The only difference is that it's 10 points cheaper. Not a gigantic change, but it does make it cheaper. I would still never take this 260 point option when I can take a 285 point option that's infinitely better. The Exorcist right here, yeah, just take it and the torpedoes. 285. I would never take this the Mars.
Yeah.
A ship
the only thing it gives you is the Nova Cannon then, really.
Yeah, but I can get that elsewhere cheaper.
Oh yeah. Dominator and stuff. Yeah. I know. I like the Mars in in regular Battlefleet Gothic as like a leader in like a smaller scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in XR, why even bother?
Yeah, there's no reason to take the ship. Okay, the Dominion. They do have the Dominion, which I hate. I want everyone to know that I hate the Dominion, and it shouldn't exist. But there we are. They appear to be exactly identical. So no real change. Nothing really to point out. Yeah, their ranges are all the same.
Dominion. Oh, I've never actually looked at the Dominion, but that's a nasty looking ship.
It's awful. It's a Battlefleet pocket ship. I hate it, but you watch my videos as to why I hate it. Okay, onto the Mercury. I don't think the Mercury does. Yeah, Mercury does exist. Now, one thing that XR does well, they've deleted the Jovian. 10 points to XR. Okay, I think these are also identical in every way. Their points are identical. Their ranges, so nothing really exciting there. We have to kind of get to our big boys to really have it make any difference. Armageddon, I'm pretty sure this one is also identical. Yes. 235, Proud Nova Cannon. No differences between the Armageddon. So, okay, Overlord. Okay, what did they do to my boy? Did they do anything to my boy? Because Overlord's my boy. Okay, 220. Everything appears to be the same.
Good. I quite like the Overlord.
Yeah, it's my favorite battle cruiser. Yeah, it is my favorite battle cruiser. Yep, everything is the same on the Overlord. And here we go, the Cardinal. We have moved on to points filling madness.
Cardinal, is that like a new XR only thing?
It is an XR only ship. Built off of a Chaos cruiser hull prow shoved onto a Gothic, what looks like an Armageddon. It has a 200 point battle cruiser with 25 centimeter speed, so it's a Chaos platform. 3 turrets, port and starboard strength 4 lance battery, left and right, dorsal lance battery, strength 2, front, left, right. It's an Acheron. This is just an Acheron. Why does the Imperial Navy need an Acheron?
Yeah, why not just have a fleet list which allows you to take Acheron and model it how you like?
Yeah, this doesn't even need to exist. It is just an Acheron. What? Why? I'm so confused. I have to drink.
Yeah.
Time to open up the next one.
Is this just because they need to have a ship with a different name so that they can role play them playing as glorious Imperials?
I don't know, but why not just make it an Acheron? It's the same rules. Everything here is the same.
Acheron, it doesn't get the targeting matrix. That's the only difference, I think.
But the Acheron doesn't have a targeting matrix.
Doesn't it?
No. Maybe it's the port and starboard lances are 45, and I think the dorsal is 45. So they flipped the ranges here, I think.
Mm. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a very Imperial. Because when I think Imperial Navy, I think, all ahead, full, six-up prow, launch the torpedoes, not
Yeah.
that.
I just don't understand why it's necessary in an Imperial Navy fleet. Maybe it's a character ship? Okay, moving on. Dictator. I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes here, except that for some reason the Dictator is cheaper at 210. I still wouldn't take this overtaking the Exorcist.
It feels like, the changes they made above to making those ships better. And now in order to make these ships still compatible,
They reduce
they're
the point
now,
cost.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just...
I mean, yeah. I like dictators, but why even take it, really?
Why bother? Yeah, okay. Dominator. I think the Dominator is identical. Yes, Dominator is identical. Okay, I think the rest of these will all be continue to be basically identical. Just 175 points for the Tyrant. Why?
Tyrant. Oh, that's a pretty cheap Nova cannon then.
Yeah, that's I mean, you get I think you still get it cheaper on the Dominator overall, because the Dominator is 190 points. That's dirt cheap.
Okay, but question: what's the limit on what Chaos? Because Chaos can nick an Imperial cruiser.
I think it's only one. I don't know about what it is for XR though.
Yeah.
Okay. These all seem to be identical. It's 200 points for the Nova Cannon on the Lunar. The Lunar is on 80. The Lunar is still 180. The Gothic is 180. I just don't know why the Tyrant is 175.
Mm.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a really good ship.
Mm.
Yeah, and it is actually at 195, so it'd be 5 points more expensive than a Dominator. Why? Oh well. Okay. I think the Dauntless is still identical. Okay. We're on to the Escort. Oh, sorry, what?
Where's the torpedo variant of the Dauntless? Is it in there for XR?
Yeah, it's an upgrade.
Ah, okay.
It's also an upgrade in the main rules. The baseline Dauntless is a Lance Dauntless.
Yeah, I just couldn't see the options thing from here, so I was like, oh, I hope they haven't got rid of it, because
yeah,
I mean, I prefer the Lance variant, but the torpedo variant is very good as well.
It is. They're both extraordinarily good ships, and I think I just lost myself here. Shoot. Oops. Sorry, everybody. KT says, in regards to Nova cannons, we house rule that any more than one needs to be approved by your opponent because spamming Novas really is not fun to play against. In my experience, KT, people who spam Nova cannons are actually astoundingly easy to beat. You just have to understand what their weaknesses are, and typically it's running down their throats, getting inside their range, and all Nova cannon equipped ships, with the exception of the Armageddon and the Apocalypse, are very poor in a knockdown drag out fight. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, KT, on that one, I've fought one of my friends who runs AdMech at the club, has a fleet with about 6 Nova cannons in it. And if you can survive the gauntlet, then, it's easy picking for the shotguns of the Emperor with some torpedoes, isn't it?
Yep. Everything has a weakness in this game. It's easy to beat, it's just not fun. Well, make it not fun for him, and he'll stop using them. Play Eldar. Laugh at him. Laugh at him in Pirate Waifu Clown. Okay. As far as I'm aware, the Endeavors are all identical. I don't think there's anything majorly different. They have the Siluria. Just making sure. I think we're at the end of the Imperial Navy. Siluria, even the Siluria is identical. Firestorm, Havocs. I hate the Havocs so much. I think they reduced the cost of the escorts too. Havoc, no, I'm wrong. Havoc is that. Viper Destroyer is 35. Firestorm, and here's a big change. The Firestorm frigate in XR is the same cost as the Sword. They increased the points of the Sword frigate. No, they reduced
Increased
the
it.
points.
Why?
Sorry, the Firestorm. Hold on. The Firestorm is 40. The Sword, I believe, is 35. Yeah. So the Firestorm is now equally pointed towards the Sword. The better
don't think
escort.
You just take the one with the lance every time.
Yeah. There's no reason to take the Sword at this point.
That's a shame because I quite like the sword.
Okay, KT says either your battle barge gets blown up round 1 or you pummel him in close combat. Also, I would never stoop so low as to play the filthy knife ears. I am offended, good sir. Good. Then the Eldar player in me has done his job. Yeah. Okay. What? And but I think the stat lines are exactly the same. So basically, why would I ever take a sword ever? The answer is I would never take a sword. Because I would take the Lance Frigate. Falchion is the same. I believe the Cobra is the same. Ramilly Starfort, nobody really plays with those. Okay, so I'm trying to see where the hell the Cardinal comes in. So here's Segmenta Obscurus. Here's a change. You can take Strategic Commanders.
Strategic Commander.
Yeah. So this is the Gothic Sector fleet. This is the this is the equivalent of the Blue Book fleet. Okay? As far as I can tell, this is Gothic Sector fleet list. So they have your Admiralty, which I think is identical, but you can also purchase these Strategic Commanders, which has +1 LD for 30 points, and they can purchase a reroll for 15. My question to this is, why are you giving the Chaos benefit to the Imperial Navy?
That feels like wish listing to me.
My question is, why is the reroll so cheap?
Are they identical? Let's see. Let's go up to the Gothic Sector fleet and compare.
Each strategic commander.
The reroll for the secondary commander,
15 points.
Wow. That's dirt cheap.
It should be, I think, for its own ship or squadron. Those are typically cheaper because it's for the individual ship. Though I think you're right. I think that is too cheap. Okay, so first things first, the Admiral's rerolls are vastly cheaper. In the main rulebook for the Gothic Sector, it's 25, 75, 150. This is 25, 50, 75, so it is much cheaper. Yeah, so all of the rerolls are cheaper here. Yes, like in Cadia, you can like in Battlefleet Cadia, Anthony, you can get extra commanders, and you don't have the negative to command and leadership roles. Jonathan, I will take a look at it, Jonathan, after the stream. So go ahead.
So combined with the general point shaving on a lot of things, what this effectively means that in a sort of standard point limit, say 1,500 points, is you no longer have to make difficult choices. You can have a big punchy battleship, and you can have a whole bunch of cruisers, and you can throw in a squadron of escorts. Oh, and you can have a top-end set of leadership and command things. Like there's no compromise anywhere. There's no trade-offs. You can just have a fleet with everything.
Here's another one. Nova Cannon limit. Due to the rarity and expense of fielding such a powerful weapon, one Nova Cannon arm vessel may be included for every 500 points.
Boo.
Boo. Boo. I hate this. This is literally people crying because their battle barge, their Space Marine Ultramarine battle barge, got nuked because one guy got a really good roll. Sorry.
That happened to Tom. We were playing a game just casually, and he had his 4 strike cruisers sort of clumped together, and I think it managed to hit all of them, as far as I can remember. Oh, no, it crippled all 4 of them. 1 Nova Cannon.
Yep. No, you killed one and crippled the other 3. Get it right.
Regardless, you shouldn't have been taking a battle barge to begin with. You should have taken a bunch of strike cruisers. It doesn't matter if a strike cruiser gets wrecked. But no, this is just appeasing to people who don't want to change their tactics. It's that simple. Yeah, it's considered a dick move to take more than 3 in a game, but if somebody does, that gives you fair reason to bring your own dick move to the battle. Oh, you're bringing 4 Nova Cannons? Sweet. Here are my Corsair Eldar. Every time you take a Nova Cannon, I'm bringing the Corsair Eldar. We'll talk about who's the dick then. It's that simple. I'm playing Chaos. Well, I guess I'm taking all slaughters. You'll kill 2, the other 30 slaughters are going to eat you alive. Because all of your Nova cannons suck in close combat.
Yeah, because this again comes down to what's the size of your. You look at game balance over what size population, right? Is this between just you and your opponent, and you can come to a gentleman's agreement in 1v1? If you're in a small club, you're the culture of a club and so forth. And then as soon as you go up beyond that, it's like, well, the overall meta health, as you say, if you spam lots of one thing, then the rock paper scissors of something else it will naturally balance out, right? As you say, Eldar will cancel this, and something will cancel the Eldar, and the meta will stabilize to something which you know the risks and things like that. So this rule seems to be weirdly about imposing your random limitations on a stranger that you meet for like the first time at a club you've never been to before. Seems a bit arbitrary.
So another little change here. Any capital ship armed with torpedoes may be equipped with either short burn, guided, or barrage bombs. Choose only one for 5 points per point of torpedo strength. Alternatively, for 50 points, it may roll on the following table at the start of the game for Seekers, Meltas, and Vortex.
I mean, I don't know what most of those do, so I can't judge.
You should play around with them. They're really funny. I highly recommend it. KT, talk to me on the Discord server. I will tell you how to build a community of BFG. It's actually really easy. All right, we're going on. Segmentum Obscurus Bastion Fleet. Okay, this is pretty much the same. It's just the Bastion Fleet with the strategic commanders. No sign of that Cardinal.
Interesting.
Yep.
Is it a reserve-only ship, I wonder? Or
it didn't say so. Okay, now here's Battlefleet Cadia with the inexperienced crews. What? Okay, so there's a reason to take the veteran commander. He's super cheap. He's cheaper than the strategic command, the secondary. What is it? The strategic commander. Reserve fleets of Segmentum Obscurus. They're the exact damn same. Okay, Segmentum Solar. Is there any differences here? These may at this point be the same, just with strategic commanders. You have the battle barge. Still no sign of the Cardinal. Why do they even add it? Okay, Baka sector. Is it in here? Here it is. It's in the It's in the Baka sector, of course.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to be an area where you're all going to probably look at me really funny, but I like this Baka sector list better than the main Baka fleet. I like it much better.
It's not hard to improve on a turd, is it?
No, it isn't. But you have the option of the Ve Victus. You can take Lord Admiral Wraith, but critically, if you want to take reserves from an Imperial Navy fleet, it's a 4-to-1 instead of a 3-to-1, and the only carrier you can take is the Dominion. There's no Jovian. So it actually successfully manages to remove the carrier problem. Kudos to XR. You did one thing right. But again, I don't understand why they need veteran commanders. I don't get it. That's just not the way that the Imperial Navy works. It's very hierarchical. So, yeah, I have this I don't like this. Oh, you can get an Emperor, Anthony, in this. You have to take Lord Admiral Wraith. Yeah, he comes with the Dominus Astra, which is a Emperor battleship. But I also can't help but notice the Baka sector list doesn't really have a lot of the weird rules in question. So let's see. They can purchase the fleet defense turrets from the Mechanicus gifts table. That's it. So it's far more restrictive than the core rules. Okay, so that's the Imperial Navy for XR. What do you guys think overall?
There are a couple of good ideas, like we were discussing as we went through. Baka works, and I don't know. And I know it's sort of bad, but I like the retribution. I think it should be a bit more expensive though, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's kind of a general downgrade, I guess. Just like, the Grand Cruisers are too cheap and can now be squadroned with an Endeavour or something, which is, I think, shouldn't be possible.
Okay.
I think a few of the additions seem to suffer from a more Horus Heresy approach to game balance, especially with comparing Imperial against Chaos. It's like with the Imperial Acheron and the veteran commanders, just like we will achieve parity by giving everyone the exact same options.
So what you're saying is it's homogenization.
Pretty much, yeah.
And as I've said many times, homogenization of any game is the first sign of its death.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go over to Chaos, simply because it's the second big fleet of the game, and I am really excited to see the kinds of horrors that this has done to one of my favorite fleets. So,
Mark, you're a Chaos main, aren't you?
I am everything main. I don't main anything, but I really enjoy them. They're fun. So I guess we're starting with the Planet Killer because it's the top. I don't think there's a lot of differences between these two.
Wasn't able to spot a difference.
Yeah, it looks different. Everything's in a different place. I think that you are allowed to use the Super Ultra Death Blast in XR, which to me is just kind of a meh option. Yeah, Anthony Dale, Zelnick mains BFG. That is very true. Okay. We are now on to the Despoiler. Now, I know what they were trying to go for with this. I really do. They were basically taking the Chaos Battle Barge and the Despoiler and slapping them together. And I don't necessarily dislike it. I also don't necessarily like it. So I have to actually go to the original. Despoiler. Okay, so the Despoiler, the changes are pretty dramatic, though. Let me actually find the Despoiler. Desolator, Despoiler. Okay, so they've reduced the points by 10. Port and starboard weapons batteries are strength 10 now, and the dorsal lance is 3, which is normal, and it has no prow weaponry.
Interesting.
And you can reduce the strength of its prow launch base by 2 to add a prow torpedo at strength 9 as opposed to strength 8. So you have a much worse Despoiler in XR for 10 points cheaper.
Yeah. I don't like the change to the launch base at all. Really.
I personally don't mind them because that's a model issue. The Despoiler model has this giant launch bay, and it doesn't even use it. So that's basically what they did for the Chaos Battle Barge, which they subdivided one of the launch bays into the prow. But so I don't like this because the Despoiler here is just awful. Why would I take this reduction in strength when the original one takes 0 reduction in strength for the torpedoes and comes with a prow launch lance if I don't do that? And it's only 10 points more expensive. These additions are worth like 50 points. Yeah, this thing should be like 360 points for what you get out of it.
Yeah, the additional uplift in weapons battery is poor compensation.
Yeah, you get a whole 4 more.
I know, right?
Congratulations. When firing, you're on average getting 2 additional battery dice. It only matters. It only matters when you're really close or you're fighting Eldar. Okay. They have the Desecrator. Now, that's not in the main rulebook, so we kind of have to skip over it. We have to go to the Desolator. As far as I can tell, they didn't change the Desolator a bit. It's entirely identical. So
it doesn't get. Why does it not get 50% extra firepower for being a battleship?
I don't know. Because they don't realize what the purpose of the desolate. Maybe they actually were sane for like 5 minutes.
All right, no, I'm now suggesting the person who wrote this is an Imperial fanboy. Because it's not consistent, right? It's not consistent by class or aesthetic. It's like it's now smacking of fanboyism.
Oh no, fanboyism in a fan document?
Who would have thought?
Bro. Drink. Okay. They added a thing called a relictor. Now, I like... The funny thing about these, like, here, the Desecrator, the relictor, these are effectively versions of the some of the named ships in the game. Like, the Desecrator is basically the Wages of Sin. So if I go to the Wages of Sin... But if I can find the stupid thing, Scion of Prospero, Wages of Sin. It's effectively the same ship, only the Wages of Sin is a little bit... is better because it has better launch bays. I actually really like the Desecrator. I think it should be in the main rulebook because it's just a fun ship. But that's just me being petty. It's also, unfortunately, there's no reason to ever take the Desolator if you have access to this Desecrator, because it has effectively the same firepower, only launch capacity 4 on top of it. So there's no reason to ever not take a Desecrator, and it's so much better than the spoiler because it has its torpedoes.
Yeah, that's super cheap for what it is. The Desecrator. Wow.
Yeah, it is very, very cheap. Okay. The Relictor is a strength 12. This is basically an Oberon, sort of. So it has port and starboard 30-centimeter weapons batteries, 2 lances, a dorsal weapon battery at 9, so it gets 21 off the top. This is very similar to the Slaver.
But significantly cheaper, isn't it?
Yeah, by 80 points.
Oh.
It's... yeah. We have my boy, the Repulsive. I don't think they changed it at all. Notice how
the change to the Repulsive makes it then worse, isn't it, in comparison to everything else, getting points reductions or buffs and stuff. Oh,
I know, because now you can squash it with a murder.
Yep. And not only that, if you hadn't noticed, they don't have any of the named ships. They don't have the Wage of Sin. They don't have, like... They may, unless they're later in here. Okay, we're going to go into some more Grand Cruisers, guys, so brace yourselves. Look what they did to my boy. Look what they did to my boy. My Coordinate Short Bus. It hurts me.
Oh, they really didn't need the points hike.
No, they increase the points. They take away my improved thrusters. I have to spend... even more points. Yeah, oh shit. Also, yeah, let's look at this. Launch capacity 6 again. Guess what ship has been rendered completely irrelevant?
The Styx.
The Styx. The Styx is now useless, and you can take prow torpedoes.
I personally don't like the Styx as a personal thing, so I'm okay with this.
But it also... but weirdly enough, because I can take the Strength 6 torpedo on a cruiser platform, I don't need to take the despoiler. I have the same launch capacity as the despoiler, comparable firepower on a more maneuverable platform. Why would I ever take a despoiler when I could take this for cheaper?
Yeah, somebody read a history book about Panzerschiff and decided that he entirely agreed with the design philosophy, and clearly it would win the war. And that's what seems to have happened to all the Grand Cruisers.
Yeah. Isn't it 290 in the blue book? The point it's no longer 290. The Styx is actually much cheaper. We'll get to that in a moment, Jonathan. Yeah, the Styx got fixed in the FAQ. So they added the Nephilim, which is another carrier Grand Cruiser, and it makes things just as bad. It's 12 firepower at 60 with launch capacity 4. It's a great Grand Cruiser. I would take this. But I would never take any normal cruiser ever again. Because I could just slap torpedoes on it and make it a really good ship.
You got to take one cruiser to soak up all the fire for you, obviously.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Guess what's in this? Light cruisers! Okay, my boy.
Now you have my attention.
Now you have my attention. Yeah.
Sick bastard.
Don't worry, you're going to be happy with what I'm designing. I'm making a new Chaos fleet based entirely on light cruisers and grand cruisers. Spoiler alert. Okay, the executor.
I don't know. I wanted to surprise Hassan.
Too late now. Anyway, the executor. Sorry, the executor. Are you happy now, Sigurov? Is exactly the same with the exception of this insult. Give the sucker torpedoes, and again, you completely change the tactical purpose of these things by doing so. Anyway, we're going to go on to our wonderful sticks. I believe here you go, Jonathan Stephenson. The Styx Heavy Cruiser is 30 points cheaper. I do believe that these are identical, but why would I waste 260 points here when I could spend 275 and get a better cruiser? Can anyone tell me why you would ever take the Styx?
Because you hate yourself.
I guess, yeah. You're there to torture yourself. 15 extra points for 2 more hits, an additional shield, better firepower, and the option to take torpedoes. Okay, onto the Hecate. I don't think any of these different. I never liked the Hecate. It's just kind of oatmeal-like. So it's very bland, not a very good design, and does. Jonathan says, because that's what's on the secondhand market. Fair. Fair. I won't argue. Okay, so we're getting into the Chaos list. Notice how we're not getting these massive points reductions on these things. They're all virtually identical.
Or massive firepower increase.
Yeah. No massive firepower increase. No points reductions. No major changes to their rules. Here is, the Acheron. This is the difference. The Cardinal swaps the ranges here. That's all. So it's still just an Acheron. Okay, yeah, no major changes there. Devastation. I mean, a useless carrier. I would take a Devastation because they're cheap, but the other ships are so useful. I don't know why I would take them. Okay, oops. Sorry. Didn't need to.
Did they increase the range of the Devastation?
No, that's normal.
They decreased the last range.
Oh, they did. They did. They took away my artillery. They made the Devastation worse and kept its point cost. Wow.
Oh
Someone's super butthurt for being beaten by a Chaos fleet when back in 2001 or 2002. Like, they are super bitter about it. It's the vibe I'm getting from this.
They are so mad about getting their precious Space Marine fleet destroyed. I'm expecting that when we get to the Space Marine section, it's going to be like, they get everything 5 times. They never can be damaged. Okay, the Carnage is identical. Okay, here we go. Inferno. I never agreed with the addition of the Inferno. Fuck this ship. Identical. The Murder is identical. The Slaughter is also identical. They left my boy alone. That's nice of them. But here we go, guys. We're on to light cruisers for Chaos. Take a drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at this. 6-hit cruiser, 25 centimeter speed, 90-degree turn, a single shield, armor 5 up, and two turrets. Why it has 2 turrets? I don't know. Port and starboard weapons battery, 45 centimeters at strength 6, and a prow lance battery out the front for 2. Can anyone riddle me this? Why would I take that over a Slaughter?
It's just, what's the point of it? Is what I'm thinking.
Oh, the point is you can take those instead of normal cruisers and take more grand cruisers. That's the only reason.
So you can get 4 repulsives in a list.
Basically.
Well, probably more.
I mean, yeah, closer to 2 to 3. But yeah, that's because there are 2 more, you see. One of these I'm particularly offended by because the Schismatic has torpedoes that fire front, left, right.
What? That's horrible. Torpedoes shouldn't be able to do that.
There is, as far as I'm aware, one Chaos ship that can, which is the Planet Killer, And there is the
Orc-Hulks
and the Demiurge. In fact, it is a hallmark of the Demiurge for front, left, right torpedoes.
They're all-round torpedoes.
Are they all around or are they front, left, right? Regardless, it's the same.
Nobody expects the rearward firing torpedoes.
Nobody does. It's true. But
it's a weapon.
yeah. So, this ship at 125 should be closer to like 150 for that ability. It's pretty disgusting. Also, there's one thing that I'm gonna point out. The biggest reason why I actually hate these is these are Bits bash ships. This is literally somebody who had more lower hulls out of a bits, a bit spin from somebody else, and just decided to slap them together to make a ship. And then said, "Oh, it's my super special light cruiser." Same thing right here, 2 top hulls. This is not good, guys. This is not a reason to make a ship.
I mean, I'm massively in favor of the concept of light cruisers in general and cheap cruisers for Chaos, and I think they're kind of broadly, not being overpowered. It's like, yes, they're maneuverable, but they don't have much firepower. Like, I like them in concept, like, a lot. Whether they're any good, no, and even their aesthetic, the fact that they look a little bit different, slightly more crocodilian. I don't know. I dig it. I'm gonna diverge from you here and stand up for my little boys.
You're a monster. You're a monster. But no.
Anything that helps me get around the 3 cruisers per Grand Cruiser limit on a Chaos fleet gets my vote, but I'm still not sold on these.
Yeah. Okay. So here we have the Heretic, front, left, right. My biggest problem with these is that these are too cheap for what they give you. These need to be weaker. If given the option between, say, a Schismatic and the Dauntless, I take the Dauntless. I take this over the Dauntless every day. Yeah, it's 2 less strength, but it's front, left, right. That gives me so much more power. That means I don't have to face my enemy to launch torpedoes into them.
Yeah, I mean, if it was prow torpedoes, I'd say it's like on par with the Dauntless, basically. But
yeah, I would agree.
Front, left, right. For another 15 points,
powerful.
that's quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so powerful. Okay.
So what we're saying is, so to play XR, all those plastic main cruisers you've got are total trash. You have to kit bash your own light cruisers and have a massive selection of ground cruisers, basically.
Yep, basically, which is ironically enough the fleet that I am building, and this is why you need to contact me, Adler Shipyards. The premise is you have only light cruisers, only grand cruisers, and escorts. So that's the fleet that I am now designing for Book of the Void 3. But there is also a rule that says you can't take any of the ships in that are unique to the fleet into any other fleet via reserves, because I'm a jerk. Okay. I believe the escorts are identical with like one exception. 45, that's identical.
So still overcosted and pointless.
Yep. Hold on. 1 second. Somebody commented on a strategic and thematic level. I think Chaos fleets need means to strike faster than the Imperium can catch up with them. Exactly how this happens matters less, though. It's called the slaughter. Also, every Chaos ship is faster than the Imperium counterpart. Every single one. The Idolator is the same. Infidel is the same. Havoc.
I love my Infidel.
They have access to the Havoc. Is that even in this list? No, it is not. I think it's still 35. And here we go. There's a change. The Iconoclast is 25 points. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, fully agree with that change.
I have no problem making the Iconoclast even cheaper. I love the Iconoclast. I recommend to any Chaos player out there, get yourself 6 Iconoclasts and use them. They will not disappoint you. Just remember that their purpose is going to be fodder. Making even cheaper fodder is fine. So, okay. I'm not going to really go over this Space Hulk because most people don't use those. Here we go. We actually do have the name ships. Okay. I was wondering where the hell they were. Okay. Let me go back up to the top and look at those. Scion of Prospero 450. These may be identical. That's a okay. This one is better. They actually made the Scion of Prospero better. Instead of having a strength 6 prow torpedo, it's strength 9. That's better.
Are all the marks the same? If we're talking
No,
about
they're
the
not.
ships?
We'll get onto that. You're gonna love this shit.
As a Space Wolf player, I dislike anything that makes the Thousand Suns better on principle.
Well, tough. Okay, Wage of Sin. Wage of Sin. We'll get into the other rules later. The Wage of Sin in this case is weaker. They only have strength 3 lance instead of strength 4. 10 points reduction. But I will point out the Mark of Slaanesh is far worse. Okay? That is very important to point out. And it doesn't have Siren Song and any of the really cool rules. Terminus Est. 430, 430. The Terminus Est here is vastly better than the Terminus Est of the original rules. The Scion can hurt itself in its own confusion in XR. Oof.
Lame.
Okay. Yeah, double that weapons battery. The lance is the same. It has the prow lance battery. It's a little weaker. Well, they're it's much stronger weapons batteries. Okay, the Conqueror, aka the Slaver. We can all quietly blame Black Library for this. They make this one much better for 20 more points. It's strength 16 instead of strength 12 on the port and starboard, which means that dorsal gets us up to 24. Well, this is only 20. I mean, if you're going to really amp up the firepower, this is where it all basically went for this fleet. But we need to talk about Marks of Chaos. Let's talk about the Marks of Chaos, guys. Let's see how this has changed. How the rules have changed. Okay, here we go. So we have the same boarding. Here we go. Anointed munitions. You ready for this? Vessels of the Chaos Fleet may petition the Dark Gods for superior warheads for which to smite the ships of the unbelievers. Any vessel purchases anointed munitions must roll on the table, and you can get Seeking, Melta, and Vortex. Okay? So any ship with torpedoes can get these. Here we go. Marks of Chaos. Mark of Chaos Undivided. You guys ready? All you undivided players, we got your undivided mark. You guys ready for this action?
I just want to note for the record that it's undecided, not undivided. Just want to note for the record.
Scandalous. The vessel marked has been rewarded for its dedication to Chaos as a whole. Only vessels embarking a Chaos War Master or Chaos Lord may be given the mark. Once per game, before a ship takes a leadership or command check, you may have your entire fleet use the marked vessel's leadership value until the end of the turn.
No, so everyone's leadership 10. Amazing.
For once per game. You only get it once.
You know what? I don't dislike that. I mean, I don't play Chaos, so I'm not the best person, but it's, in a critical turn where you want stuff to pass, you just, slap that once per use. How much does it cost is the question.
That's a great question, but we have to get onto the other marks.
I mean, that could be good as well. It means you could put your fleet admiral on a ship that's more involved for fighting, but you can still get the benefit of leadership, high leadership on your carrier in terms of fleet design.
Jonathan Stephenson asks, can the second Chaos Lord in that fleet also use that? We will see when we look at the fleet lists. Okay, Mark of Khorne. This is, I think, pretty much the same. Always double its troop rating. That's pretty much the same. It's the non-upgraded version for the Gothic sector list. Here we go. Mark of Nurgle. It adds plus one hit to its characteristic. What's missing here, gentlemen?
Oh, you can board them.
You can board it now.
Yes, you can. All right, here we go. Mark of Slaanesh. All enemy ships within 15 centimeters of the marked vessel suffer a -1 leadership penalty. Note that this effect is not cumulative with multiple marks.
That's a change, isn't it?
That is a big change.
Demon ship noises.
That is in fact weaker than it was before. Here we go. Mark of Tzeentch. The ship may re-roll the result of any roll on the critical hits table it suffers or inflicts on an enemy, including the result of hit and run raids. The second result even stands even if worse. You don't get your re-roll from there anymore.
No. You get to re-roll the critical damage both offensively and defensively. That's amazing.
But you don't get re-rolls from it. Okay.
Yeah, no, but you're fundamentally re-rolling one of the most dangerous tables in the game, positively and negatively. That's insanely good.
So,
I want the reroll to run attacks.
Do you think that this was maybe a Zinch fan that wrote this?
Just a little bit.
Think somebody didn't like Nurgle or Slaanesh that much? Maybe someone a little bitter about not being able to board or, make leadership checks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can we all agree that these all have different values? These are not equally powerful, right?
For sure.
No, they're not.
Let's see where this is going.
Are you all ready to cringe your spleen out? Oh, just so you know, Chaos Space Marine's basically the same. Important note about demon ships: Haunting does not stack with Mark of Slaanesh. Katie, yes, this is all fan written. So if you have a demon ship of Slaanesh, its Haunting field does not stack with the Mark of Slaanesh, making the Mark of Slaanesh effectively useless.
Redundant.
Okay, well, let's go have a look. So let's have a look. Look at this, guys.
Demon ships. Okay.
I'll let it upload. I'll let it upload for you.
Oh, good lord. Now, what's the clarifier on undivided? What's the double mark there? Because
you can only be taken on a Chaos Lord or War Master vessel only.
Oh lord, those are cheap.
And guess what? You can only take a Chaos Lord or a War Master once. So no, you can't put it on Chaos Fleet Commander. By the way, it gets even worse, because there's something that I really wanted to share with you that is super special. Super fucking special. Chaos Space Marines. Stormbird gunships.
Oh.
Okay? You ready for this action? Any Chaos Space Marine vessel may replace its existing attack craft with Stormbirds, reducing its launch capacity by half. So, Thunderhawk rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stormbirds are multi-role attack craft that combine the abilities of fighters, bombers, and assault boats. In addition, they are resilient.
So it's like a Thunderhawk Plus, basically.
It can do everything.
Lore accurate.
It can do everything. Now, it is lore accurate. What's the problem with this right here? In regards to balance of the game.
Who needs to make choices when you can have everything?
Yes! Why would you take anything but Stormbirds? I would absolutely take my battleship, throw Chaos Space Marines on it, take Stormbirds. There's no reason to not take them.
Only question would be, what's their movement value? That'd be the only thing I'd check.
It's still 20.
20.
The real question for me is does the half round down like in the main book?
No, rounds up.
Rounds up.
Oh my god, why would you never take these?
Nicely. Now, my question is, do Thunderhawks in this game also serve those same purposes, or is it just Chaos that gets Stormbirds?
I have a thinking suspicion that Thunderhawks aren't going to be as good as...
I have a sinking suspicion that they're going to be better. But...
Oh?
Okay, well, anyway, we're on to the fleet list. You all notice that the light cruisers are now applied to all of the fleets. So there's no and also all the grand cruisers are also applied. So we have completely negated a need to take your standard cruiser and all of your heavy cruisers. There's no reason at all to take them.
But,
or the battleships.
That's how they split out the categories. Does it actually still count light cruisers as the cruiser requirement for grand cruisers? Because it doesn't call it out by name.
Absolutely.
That is nasty.
Also, you can take a Chaos Space Marine strike cruiser too.
What?
Though I think you can do that already. I may be wrong.
No, I've never seen
a standard Chaos fleet mode.
Yeah. I think you could take it as the you can take a strike cruiser as the trader ship, which is available to any chaos list.
Yes,
I don't think so,
there is
because
one fleet that can. There is a fleet that can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so this is exactly why I tell everybody that chaos light cruisers, broadly speaking, are a bad idea. I can take 6 of them. That's 6 light cruisers for dirt cheap. I can just fill up on that's 2 more grand cruisers. Well, guess what? Light cruiser, grand cruiser, battleship. Why would I take heavier normal cruisers? I get my
just to be devil's advocate. I can't quite see. Does it say 0.6 or 0.4? In this list, I can't. Thank you.
You can take 0 to 6 light cruisers.
That's easy access to the repulsive.
It's easy access to the Retaliator, which, if anything, is as good as the repulsive. It's the perfect Space Marine short bus.
Because you put a mark of corn on it, that puts it to what? 290 points, and then you slap some Chaos Space Marines on it.
Give it Stormbird.
Lovely Stormbirds.
Yeah, launch capacity 4 Stormbird, because it is now launch capacity 6. Either give it back its speed upgrade, or give it the speed upgrade for 5 points. You have an even better short bus.
Wow.
With a massive wave of 270-degree torpedoes to guarantee the opponent has to choose to shoot the Stormbirds or the torpedo wave.
Oh, and guess what? You can put those light cruisers in squadron with your Grand Cruisers, so now you can't shoot them. You have to kill a bunch of these 6 little light cruisers before you can even touch the Grand Cruisers, because you can take a squadron of 4 cruisers.
Oh my word.
I mean, I know how I would win every time with Chaos now. Thanks, XR.
Just escorting your, short bus in one by one to every single ship on the enemy fleet.
Yeah. There's no semblance of balance here. They've completely annihilated the purpose of the Chaos list. Your cruisers are pointless. And what they did to the marks, these are not all worth the same. I would take Mark of Slaanesh for 5 points with how much they've weakened it. I would take Mark of Nurgle. That's Mark of Nurgle nominally is 35 points. I would make that 20. The way it is here. Mark of Khorne, I think Mark of Khorne's nominally 25 points, isn't it?
20.
It's 20 points. So yeah, I would still keep that 20. The new Mark of Tzeentch, that's like a 30-point upgrade. It's really good.
The Tzeentch and the Chaos Undivided one, they're both really good.
Yeah, well, the Chaos Undivided one's still 25.
Thankfully.
Yeah. So basically, all of these things are the same. When it comes to the only things that are different here are, I think these are the same, or are they different? No, these are all the same. All of the upgrades, I think, for the specific fleet lists, like Nurgle, Pleasure Fleet, they're all the same when it comes to Miasma, their special abilities. So, yeah. Yeah, that's Chaos, guys. How do you feel?
Horrible. I feel violated.
Dirty and intrigued.
Dirty and intrigued. Horrible.
I feel like all of my cruisers are too long now.
Okay, so I have not been able to actually get to the Space Marine section of this book. This is new for me. So it looks like they've added chapter tactics.
Okay.
So
interesting.
The one thing that has been forbidden from from BFG, which is has XR done anything as bad to Orc Phytobombers? We will have to get to the Eldar for that, Stephen. But the answer is yes. I feel like you don't have enough alcohol. I don't. I'm so sorry, Katie. Have you talked about the Eldar turrets yet? Why did you have to bring that up? We haven't gotten to the aliens yet, I'm afraid. Okay. So one of the core principles of BFG is that at this scale, the chapters of the Space Marines, unless they're Grey Knights, don't matter. If you want to use them differently based on the individual chapters, that's up to the player, because 1,000 points of Marines doesn't about the same amount of damage as 1,000 points of any other Marine, right? So here they've turned around and given chapter tactics. Now, if you take none of them, you reduce the cost of all strike cruiser variant refits by 10 points to a minimum of 0. So if you are a Dark Angel player, or and like Plasma, you get basically all this does is make your Space Marines even better than they already are. And again, this is entirely the creation of Space Marine players that got their asses kicked by an Eldar player. I am convinced of it. Let's see. Dark Age plasma batteries. All capital ships have their speed reduced by 20, unless already slower. But as long as they do not move more than 10 centimeters, their weapon batteries have 45 centimeters and do not suffer column shift for range.
That's ridiculous. That fundamentally changes the dynamic of Marines being short range.
I don't like that upgrade because it doesn't play into what Marines do well, which is being close.
Okay, lightning thrusters. Vanguard cruisers still conduct teleport attacks and fire weapon batteries at full effectiveness wait, hold on. Vanguard cruisers may still conduct teleport attacks and either fire weapons batteries at full effectiveness or turn up to 45 degrees while on all ahead full. In addition, you can count...
Sorry, what's a Vanguard cruiser?
That's another kind of strike cruiser. We'll find out.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But it's a lighter light cruiser.
I don't like this because it violates one of the core tenets of the damn rules. And it says you may count up to 4 Vanguard cruisers against your fleet's maximum number of strike cruisers rather than the normal limit. So there's some kind of limit here. All right. Pack Hunter protocols. Escorts and Vanguard cruisers had +1 to their troop rating when fighting combined boarding action against a larger ship if they combine their efforts with other members of their own squadron. This bonus applies to per member, so the 3 members of the boarding would add total +3. So it turns their escorts into boarding ships. I don't like this because this is against the purpose of Space Marine escorts. They are meant to be the firepower, not boarding teams.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen what Vanguard cruisers do yet, but if you drop escorts from that, I would quite like that one. Oh, I got a drink because that's something I like because it would benefit my fleet.
Yep, you benefit your fleet. Drink, buddy. All right. Whenever siege cannons, whenever a battle barge or strike cruiser fires weapon batteries and bombardment cannons together, they add both weapons firepower together and look up corresponding number of hits on the gunnery table. Okay, so it basically, any of these in excess of the bombardment cannon's firepower are first made by the weapons batteries, and the rest are made by... That's very confusing.
It's someone who doesn't want to split it. He wants to fire them at the same time so he doesn't have to suffer negative column shifts for his weapons batteries. I'm like, just fire the weapons batteries first into the shields, then fire the bombardment cannons afterwards. That's someone who doesn't understand the basic mechanics of the gunnery table.
The thing is, though, I think that one is useless because even just think about it,
it gives you more dice on the bombardment cannon. So if you've got a firepower 4 bombardment cannon and a firepower 6 battery, you combine together a firepower 10, which could give you 8 dice at short range. Now you get 4 of that into your bombardment cannon because it's firepower 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just gives you a couple extra dice here and there. It's not bad, but again,
I read it wrong. Ew.
Wings of Fury. Thunderhawks have 30 centimeter speed and re-roll the results of hit and run raids. That is fucking stupid.
What? Excuse me?
Your Thunderhawks have 30 centimeters speed and me roll the results of the hit and run raids.
That's broken.
Why would I ever take anything else? Why would I ever take any of these other ones? That's amazing. That's incredible.
30-centimeter Thunderhawks. That's insane.
Yeah. Escort squadrons automatically. Shadow engines. Escort squadrons automatically pass leadership tests to navigate asteroid fields. It cannot be targeted by lances or gunnery weapons beyond 30 centimeters if they are not the closest target, regardless of target priority. This tactic has no effect on Tyranids or Necrons. That is good for the smart Space Marine player who has a lot of escorts.
So hang on. So if you have like millions of escorts, and then you take one ship, hide that one ship like behind a planet so it can't be shot, and then you just play the entire game with your escorts, which can't be targeted because of this rule.
No, you'd be able to still shoot the escorts because you can't. That vessel can't be targeted because there's no line of sight.
It needs to be a valid target. All right, fair enough.
But you have a couple of strike cruisers up front. You know, they can just take all the hits while your escorts just murder everything else. Ooh.
Yeah, just have a couple of strike cruisers out in front of the escorts. That's all you need to do. And then suddenly you're like 18 or 20, 24 strike escorts will just destroy everything. Okay, tactical reserves. Battle barges only reduce their effectiveness of their gunnery weapons by 25% rounding up instead of 50 when all had fill or burn retros. And are only slowed by blast markers if they're in contact with 2 or more.
Lame.
I'm not against.
No, I'm against breaking the fundamental rules for blast markers.
Yeah, I mean there are similar rules out there that involve this, so that's why I'm not that offended by it.
It's just kind of meh.
It's a meh upgrade. Why would you take this over Wings of Fury? Promethean unguents. So we're putting gasoline on everything. Barrage bombs always hit on a roll of 4+, but do not inflict damage. Instead, for each hit, place a blast mark in contact with target's base. If at least one hit is scored, target's turret's value is halved. Okay. For the next ordnance attack resolved against it in the same turn. In addition, Thunderhawks may move through blast markers without requiring a roll.
I mean, considering the number of squadrons I end up blowing up on a roll of a 6, I think that's amazing. But that's only because of my ability to blow up my own squadrons in blast markers that I've put down.
Yeah, I mean, that's saying that's bad. That's actually not unbalanced. Heed the Machine Spirit. After making saving throws, Brace capital ship may take a leadership test counting as leadership 7, ignoring all modifiers. Test is passed. One failed saving throw is treated as successful instead. And it may be used once per attack per turn. So I can make a leadership check at 7 to ignore 1 damage when on brace for impact.
I mean, it's all right, but it's not as good as Wings of Fury again,
No.
or siege cannons,
Okay.
Or lightning thrusters.
or lightning thrusters.
Okay, so they have venerable battle barges. Looks like they are. Do they have basically everything here? Okay, so they basically limit what you can have as your venerable battle barge.
Chosen from any of the profiles.
Okay, I don't mind this because I think the ability for Space Marines to take literally anything from either Chaos or Imperial Navy is bullshit because it just ruins the whole point of they're not supposed to have warships. But I know that there's a lore reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Desolator, which I painted up for my Space Wolves, which I quite like because it's a very good adjunct to the strike cruisers.
Yeah. And you can design a venerable battle barge. You may design your own. Pick a non-unique Imperial Navy or Chaos battleship that does not already have a battle barge profile. So you can actually take pretty much any. It has to be a battleship, though. It can't be a cruiser. If representing post-heresy barge, change its armor value to 6+ and add 100 points to its cost. If its speed is the stat lines are different on the venerable battle barge. Yes, they are. So you do have a build a battleship. It can have both lances and a Nova cannon, so you can't take the. Oh yeah, okay. So there's a huge set of rules. You can take venerable strike cruiser, armor 6 all around. Yeah. So they have build a strike cruiser, the Ultima class battle. So somebody's been playing Final Fantasy 6 and 7. This reminds me of the Sedito, I think.
It is just the Sedita.
Yeah, let me go down to the Space Marine section.
I think they've shot out some of the range of the city too.
Hang on, a venerable strike cruiser can take a Nova cannon. What?
Oh dear.
Yes. Must purchase strike cruiser power, replace it. Yes, you can. What's wrong? Don't you like Space Marines?
I love Space Marines.
So it has a rule for the Imperial Navy can't take lots of Nova cannons, but on one of the most undercosted light cruiser packages, you can put a Nova cannon on that, no problems, boss.
Hold on, well, no, it's a venerable strike cruiser, so you have to pick it from. You can pick it from a Grand Cruiser, Battle Cruiser, or Heavy Cruiser from Imperial Chaos list. So it's not going to be on a strike cruiser.
So it's gonna be a Nova cannon on a Grand Cruiser. What's the short bus one?
The Retaliator.
I'll take a Retaliator with a Nova cannon, please, and Stormbirds.
Done. I mean, I guess you can do that now.
Yeesh. I mean, Thunderhawks are even better than sort of Stormbirds. If you take the wings of.
Where are the rules for the
Scroll
Thunderhawk?
up. Thunderhawks are just everything as well.
Seriously? Here we go.
Fighters, bombers, and assault boats. Yeesh.
My God, they're not supposed to be the Space Marines are not the poster children of this game. I swear.
It's Blood Angels now, baby. It's Wings of Fury, Thunderhawks all the way.
Okay, so the Ultima, yes, the Ultima is just the Sedito Prime. Okay, onto the battle barge itself. I think these may be identical. Dorsal bombardment cannon 8.
It has an extra shield.
Ah, it does. At the same point cost. That's technically another 15 points that should be on top of it. More so because it has 6-up armor.
Yeah.
It can take short burn torpedoes for 5 points, or barrage bombs for 10. Okay. Strike cruisers. So, an important thing to note. You do not have the same options here. I mean, at least I may be wrong. I hope I'm right on this. You can take the torpedo salvo for no extra cost. You can't take. Oh, no, hold on. Let me see. Okay, this is a little disturbing. So your standard strike cruiser, right? It can have the shield upgrade, right? Up to half can have these upgrades. You can replace your launch bay with bombardment cannons or torpedoes. Okay, so that's the same. But also here, replace your weapons batteries. You can replace your port and starboard weapons batteries and equip with Thunderhawks.
Oh my God!
So we can get up the launch capacity 4. Yep, Wings of Fury, Thunderhawks.
Oh my God! Just have 4 30-centimeter Thunderhawks coming out of one strike cruiser.
And yeah, half of them can have that.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Okay, here's your Vanguard cruiser.
I would say that there was one change on the strike cruiser upgrades that I am a fan of. Paying points for the extra bombardment cannon.
But if you don't take a chapter tactic, then it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
But outside of that, but still paying points for the extra bombardment cannon, I am all for.
Yep, that's fair. But another thing, you don't get the lance option. Not that that should really be there, but here you go. You want to know what the Vanguard cruiser is? So it's a 6-hit. So they're both 6-hit cruisers. Your weapons batteries are 5. You have a strength 4 torpedo and a strength 1 launch bay for 130 points. It has 3 turrets. Why does this have 3 turrets?
Yeah, it can take an extra shield.
Isn't this taken out of the the
Imperial Armor book?
One that
I think it is.
tried to do.
This is really good because then you take it with that pack tactics thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have a boarding machine.
Yeah.
Or a trio. You can take a trio of them, slap extra shields on them.
Yeah.
And you just have boarding machines.
You know what? I'm going to say that this is worse than fan written. It's Forge World written, and therefore should be struck them from the record and declared hereticus immediately, and just redacted.
Ouch. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So we're going to go on to the escorts now. They've reduced the points of the Nova by 5 points. And the Gladius appears to be the same. Hunter class destroyer is the same. Anthony Dale, Vanguard cruiser. Thanks. I hate it. Well said. Okay, that's Space Marines, guys. So they've basically taken Space Marines and made them even more of a problem than they already are.
Oh, it's horrible. I love it.
Yeah. So the AdMech, I do want to bring up the point of the AdMech. The AdMech is just more of the same. There's a couple of things that I do like with the AdMech, namely they have access to all of the torpedoes and rolling. All of this is virtually the same. The Mechanicus gifts are a little bit different, but not by much. But everything here is the same offensive garbage. Points reductions, increased strength for no reason. I think actually the Omniscience Victory is worse in this than it is in the main rules. But I think we need to get on to aliens. We need to talk about aliens.
Yeah, core aliens.
Okay, pick an alien race, guys.
I mean, the chat seems to be keen for Eldar, doesn't it?
Eldar. Okay, we're gonna give me a absolute aneurysm. Okay, so everything that you know about Eldar is wrong. They have turrets. They now have shields.
Ugh.
Yep. So also their weapons work differently. Basically, we are now going to watch as the Eldar are turned into worse Imperials. So let's go to their rules. So first things first, I love the way the Eldar work because they break all the rules. I want to make that abundantly clear. Okay? I like them to be fragile. Jonathan Stephenson says we have to pull the chamber on the revolver eventually. Okay. So, Eldar and Battlefleet Gothic. So, Eldar, the movement originally was different. Then they moved to another thing, and now they've gone back to original Eldar movement. Okay? Excuse me. Eldar ships move twice in each of their turns, first in the movement and then at the end of the ordinance. The 45-degree Voidstalker is a curse upon humanity. We'll get to that. Okay. Eldar vessels do not require minimum distance to turn, however, they must make their turn at the start of their move. Okay. Solar Jibe. Before resolving each move, an Eldar ship may make a free 45-degree turn away from this table edge, unless pointed directly away from the sun already. So they get a free turn automatically, which means you can, if I'm reading this right, lock on and still get a free turn. Because this is before resolving the move.
Damn.
So they get all the benefits of basically being near. They have a perfect planet wherever they need it at all times.
Yeah, it says here, make a free 45-degree turn away from the sunward edge.
Yeah, that's pretty shut and closed.
Yeah. All right. Boarding actions.
I wouldn't be too sure, but it's because planets specifically call out it works while locked on. That's why I wouldn't be too sure on that one for this.
If it says free, then it's free. I mean, that's just the way that I interpret it. So, yep, turn, Anthony Dale, yep, turn during locking on, and twice. Okay,
it does
boarding
say
action.
Before each normal move, if you're locked on, does that still count as a normal move? What does normal mean?
That's a great question. I have no freaking clue. We'll have to go to lock on. Oh, here we go. It says right down here, it cannot solar jibe. So these Technically, these rules almost contradict one another, but it is clarified here. All right, boarding actions. I think those are the same. Special orders. All ahead, full and burn retros. Do not use the press thruster, cannot use it. They can, however, use come to new heading. Eldar ship perform their second move immediately after their first move rather than waiting until the ordnance phase. But weapon penalties still apply.
So to desperately draw it into the normal rules, because they clearly don't like the fact that they quote unquote break all the rules, they've just given them all the rules back. So what's the point?
Don't know. Okay. Can't do solar jibe. I don't even really understand what the purpose of solar jibe is. Wait, do they have turns now? They have turns now. That's right. They have turns now. So Eldar ships move normally. That's why the solar jibe is now there.
Normally plus extra.
No, yeah. Normally they don't have a turn. They can come to any facing they want.
And so it's forcing them to use come to new heading orders to basically be what they were before. Effectively.
No, this actually converts them into move, move, shoot instead of move, shoot, move.
No, but they do their second move in the ordnance phase, so it is still move, shoot, move.
It is, but they can't. Eldar do not have a turn degree. They come to any heading they want. They can literally like spin on a dime and come to any direction they want. Now they move like everyone else.
But with the combination of jibe and the come to new heading elements, they're effectively giving it back to them. So they took it away from them, and then they've given it back to them. Hence my comment of, what's the point? Just like, you're changing the Eldar rules because clearly you didn't like it, but then you've grudgingly given it back to them. So you've ended up, coming full circle back to where we started, but now with 3 paragraphs of rules rather than 1.
And they're slower now, too. So somebody was very, very mad that their precious space marines were failing to catch up to the Eldar.
That sounds like me at the Lynn Hay blockade.
Yep. Okay, gravity well, the warp. They suck going through the warp. Here we go. Wave shields. Eldar vessels do not risk damage from blast markers or gas clouds despite being unshielded. The one major weakness of the Eldar when you play them is now no longer a problem. As an Eldar player, I approve of this message. Drink. Yeah. So, and then they basically go back to insulting the concept of the Eldar. Eldar typically always count as closing. Now they just get a left column shift at all times. So they no longer count as closing.
How does that change the math? That changes it pretty dramatically, doesn't it?
It depends on...
significantly less dice.
You get much less dice. So, for example, if I'm a beam, I'm on average getting between 2 and 4 less dice.
Well, guess I got a drink, because that benefits my fleet.
Yep. Marine, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Maybe if you grew some hair out and got your rusty studs out, maybe you get some sisters on your codpiece. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay. Pulsar lances. A pulsar lance is fired like a normal weapon. For each hit scored, roll a second shot. That appears to be exactly the same. Okay. Hollow fields. Eldar vessels are protected by sophisticated holographic countermeasures. They do not count as shields, but provide the following effects. Against attacks that make use of the gunnery table, hollow fields give a right shift. That's normal. Okay, in addition, after a ship or squadron with hollow fields is hit by a gunnery weapon, place a tracking mark on that unit. Limit 1 per target per attacking ship. These marks last until the end of the turn and are applied even if the hit was saved by bracing. If you do not have specific tokens in hand, use dice or coins.
It's adding another mechanic.
It's adding a new mechanic. Versus lances, can be saved by 2-up save for the lances. For each tracking mark on the unit, the save difficulty increases by 1 to a maximum of 6. So if you shoot first with your batteries and then with your lances, like everyone else, your hollow field save gets worse. Versus
there's someone who hated all of their games against Eldar.
Yep, that's someone who's just losing against Eldar and doesn't know how to beat them. Versus ramming and Nova cannons, leaderships to ram ships to holofields are taking an extra plus 2d6 due to the difficulty. Whatever. Likewise, Nova cannons will scatter plus 1d6 even if a hit is scored. It doesn't say if you get holofield defenses against the detonation, which you do get. Boarding actions, teleport attacks, catastrophic damage, fetch any other attack. Holofields have no protection. Interesting. Well, yeah,
that's normal, I think.
I don't agree with teleport attacks. How are you targeting the ship?
Oh yeah, teleport attacks is different, but the rest I think is normal.
This is a massive weakness now. Oh, also, Eldar only suffer crits on a 5 rather than a 6.
Isn't that better than usual?
Yeah, normally it's 4. It was 4s. So they've made them less fragile, given them more shields, making them less maneuverable, making the holofields less objectionable, but nerfing their firepower. So they've basically just changed everything, and I feel that broadly they've ended up in probably about the same place, but a bit worse.
Yeah. These all appear to be the same. Okay, Craft World. So there are now specific Craft World rules. Yeah, Craft World can go on all ahead full. That does so. Move twice its normal speed, plus an extra 5d6. All the rules apply for all ahead full. And all Craft World Eldar always perform their second move immediately after resolving the first. So these are now move, shoot. This is move, shoot. This is move, shoot, move. And oh my god. As an Eldar player, I am horribly offended. Aspect Warriors, Incorporeal Crew for Deathless. Ghost Ships gain plus 2 hits. That I don't mind. Oh my god.
Drink. Gone.
I'm almost out.
Oh no.
Okay. They even add in move, shoot for it. Optional rule for... I do not like optional rules. I really want to make this abundantly clear. I don't like optional rules. Tell me what I can use and what I can't use, please. Oh, okay. I am in pain. I think I'm getting an aneurysm. Okay. Okay, let me get to the Eldar so we can start doing comparisons. But the thing is, these ships are now... I can't actually compare them, really, anymore. This thing has a shield. You know, this thing has turrets. Right?
This thing doesn't always count as closing. So even doing the firepower stuff, you'd have to go through everything.
Yeah.
This is a totally new race, really.
Yeah. It's similar. They look similar, but... it's been warped out of all definition. They don't function properly. The fact that you have to give them a shield is just a demonstrated effect that you don't know what you're doing, and you can't make the ships work the way that you imagine them to work. I mean, I like that they give them keel torpedoes. Yay. But... oh, my god.
Front, left, right torpedoes at that.
No, they're just front. You're looking at the keel weapons battery.
Okay.
And the keel weapons battery always fired front, left, right.
Yeah.
Yep, they get a Grand Cruiser, the Supernova, with 4 Pulsar Lances, basically making the Void Stalker irrelevant. Yeah, it's about half the cost. You get 4 Pulsar Lances. I mean, I don't get a shield, but who cares? I mean, I get 4 Pulsar Lancers on a 275 platform.
At least I now know where all those STL files for Grand Cruisers come from. It's from these players.
Yeah. It can treat its pulsar lens profile as range 45, strength 2, or range 60. So I can extend my pulsars up to 60 centimeters with this guy.
I hate that so much. Oh my god.
I mean, again, why would I ever take the Void Stalker? I take these guys. I take a couple of these guys and begin sniping shit from across the board.
And again, on the theme of why compromise, right? Why have to take the risk of coming in close, doing your attack run, risking the retaliation, trying to get out, going for the reset, the whole Eldar gameplay. Now it's like, no, I'll just be 60 centimeters away behind this planet, blinking away at you with pulsar lances. Great game design, super dynamic. I love it.
I appreciate the salt. Here we go. Here's something weird. The Eclipse is exactly the same. Why not give the Eclipse something new?
Did they at least do anything about the Solaria? That one.
Solaris? Okay, here we go,
Yeah.
guys. If I had a drink to finish, I'd have to drink because I like this upgrade. I think this should be adopted in the main rules.
Oh,
45 centimeter weapon battery at strength 8.
okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is what it should be.
At least finally gives that platform a use, which I like.
It does have a use. It's just a very, very specific one. It's great against fighting other Eldar. But what also strikes me is that there's only 2 ships that actually got the attention that was necessary for the changes made to this fleet. The Voidstalker and their new Grand Cruiser. Everything else is exactly the same. Everything else is exactly the same. The Solaris is a little cheaper. Oh, here we go, guys. We found the 2-hit escorts. And it's the Hellbore.
It's bad enough as it is.
That's insane. You're making the Eldar the tankier escorts. That's just insane.
Yes, let's give it 2 fucking hits. What a brilliant fucking idea. Oh, you think that's bad? Notice this. Guess what? It comes with launch bays. Yeah, it's a carrier. That's how stupid these people are. You can replace it with the torpedoes for free. But why would you even give it that option?
Yeesh. Imagine a squadron of 6 of those little bastards.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the normal ones are cheaper and have the torpedo option. These things are mean. I love them. I love using these things.
But 75 points for 2 hits, right? With that weapons platform, it's like, all right, so they're not so super overgunned. No, that's insane. That's genuinely insane. I'm sorry.
Because then escorts also get the shift on the table as well, so they just become.
It's even meaner.
So yeah,
it's really stupid. I can't get over how dumb giving it launch bay is. Why? Why would you even give him that option? Yes, the 75 was the original Blue Book price, Jonathan. Okay, our good old friend the Aconite is more expensive, and has the same firepower. And like Jonathan says, it's so different you can't even gauge comparison, and that's very true. They have increased the points of the Nightshade. Definitely somebody was bitter about losing their battleship to a squadron of Nightshades. Undeniably. Because these things are mean. Nightshades are horrible things to fight. 12 Eldar torpedoes will fold a cruiser. And they increase the points of the Hemlock, too. Because people are bitter. All right, now here's the thing. When we get into Craft World Eldar, there's not a lot of good things that we can do in regards to comparison. These function off of move, shoot, move. There's no real comparison that we can do. I like the models. I actually have one of the worms. They're really cool models. But yeah, this is all move, shoot, move. Again, they give them shields. They give them turrets. It's nothing.
My craft world would kill for 45 centimeter weapons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Craft World, and they do deserve a battleship. They deserve the worm, but not like this, man. Not like this.
Phrasing?
No, I know exactly what I was talking about. I do appreciate that they kept the Wraith at 6 hits, as it's meant to be. I like also that they kept the original rules for the anti-ordnance to 4+, because they changed it in the 2010 FAQ to they get to re-roll their hollow field against any ordnance that they run into.
Jesus, two up rerollable.
Yep. I prefer them actually shooting.
Attack, though.
Say again?
You only get one reroll per attack, though, so it's useful. Do not get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I guess somebody requested the Tau, so we're going to the Tau. Hey, I'm surprised nobody wanted to see how bad the Necrons were. Okay, moving on to the Tau. Let's see. I honestly have no idea what we're looking at here. So,
bring on the fish people. Here we go.
Okay.
I have to dip out, gentlemen, because it's a bit late here. But thank you for having me, Zelnick. And
my pleasure. Okay, why don't we go over the Tau and then let's end it there because I have things I need to do, like cook dinner. But okay,
gentlemen.
See you. Are you guys still good to go? Or do you want to pause here?
I'm good for one more, but I think needs to be noted, obviously, as Mark is in favour of the greater good. I, however, believe that death is a preferable alternative to communism.
Mark, do we have to tell them that the Tau actually aren't representative of communism? They're more representative of Indian class structure?
I'm happy to let you go for that.
But anyway, never mind. We'll have that argument in a game of your favorite fleet against my Tau. How about that?
I'm game.
All right. Looks like railguns, ion cannons are the same. Torpedoes, I think, are the same. I think I went over this and everything appeared to be effectively identical. Yeah. I think the Tau are pretty much identical to what they were meant to be. Jonathan, yes, they did. Here we go. Tiger Shark drone carriers. Tiger Shark is a larger, more heavily armed version of the Barracuda. No, it isn't. It's a fighter bomber. It's not that. Have these guys ever played 40K? I'm confused.
Isn't the Tiger Shark the one where they drop the carrying capacity and put a giant Titan killing gun on it?
Yeah, they have one with 2 ion cannons that can drop drones. They have an air carrier version that can drop remoras, and they have the heavy one with the twin rail cannon. It's not a Barracuda. It's not a variant of the Barracuda. It's a heavy bomber. Well, it's a medium bomber actually. So these guys never played fucking 40K. Shame on them. I used to play Tau, so I used to own a Tiger Shark. Both versions. Tiger Shark drone carriers follow the rules of torpedo bombers? What? That doesn't make any sense. The Manta missile destroyer in BFG fires missiles. They're not the same kind of Manta that you see in 40K. The Manta you see in 40K is a lander. There's also the Manta missile destroyer, which is the anti-ship variant of the Manta. These people did not read the rules. They do get 4 Brazilian save and 20 centimeters. So they got this all wrong on a lore level. My Tautism has gone off. Okay. 20 Tau torpedoes fire at the same rate. Jonathan, most impressive kill. I never killed anything with them. They always got shot out of the sky. It was very sad. Every single time I had the opportunity, just got wrecked. Okay. Same exact rules. Boarding actions, hit and runs. Corvatra are always halved. I think that's the same. Okay, I think these are identical. I think the Tau haven't been really modified.
Okay, let's go and have a look at some of their ships then and see whether there's any obvious numbers there that are different.
Maybe the fleet list is different? Question mark? Let's get all the way down. Oh, by the way, anybody who's looking to start a classic Tau list, Deadly Caffeine makes the most beautiful classic Tau ships I have ever seen. I have an entire fleet of them right now being painted by James Wapple. If you are interested in starting that fleet, let me know. I will direct you to where you can buy them. And they are reasonably priced, and the guy is awesome. Okay, here we go. Explorer class ship, same exact cost. It can have its firepower just like the normal, just like the other one. It could take torpedo bombers. Yeah, it's exactly the same. There's no difference whatsoever. Shields 1, 5 up. Oh, yeah, 5 up 4, 5 turrets, 15 centimeters. These are identical.
Oh, that's a big shift for the hero.
What happened to the hero? 180 points. That's the
They
same.
halved the lances.
They did. They did have the lances. Somebody's an upset Imperial player. What did we get? Did they change anything? So 1 and 1. Railgun battery, so that isn't different. Gravitic launcher's the same. Launch base are the same. Prow deflector. How do they justify the same point cost? This sucks. This ship absolutely blows. I mean, I get it. Imperial players are really, really salty that a hero typically can fold a lunar. But this thing's now worth like 160 points.
Yeah, it is not worth it at that.
No, this is awful.
No.
Somebody was real salty.
I can't read it properly. What's the firepower option for swapping out for the batteries? Because that might actually be a viable option if it's high enough.
It may replace its port and starboard ion cannons for port and starboard railgun batteries, strength 45, firepower 3. They're even weaker. Those are weaker too.
Yeah, so it only goes to a combined firepower 10. That's still not worth it.
No, this is pathetic. Somebody really doesn't like the Tau. We have a Tau hater definitely in the design. Okay, merchant.
Oh, shame.
I will stab you. Okay, merchant is 105 points.
They rolled the extra hit. Yeah, they rolled the extra hits in as standard. That's fine.
Yeah, that looks like it. Yep, because everyone takes that upgrade to increase its hits for 50. Actually, this is cheaper than the 15-point upgrade. Because the 15-point upgrade puts it at 110. All right, 222 and an Orca, 222 and the Orcas, that's the same. It cannot use come to new heading. That's new. Wait. Let me just double check. No, you can use come new heading on merchants. Oh, Anthony Dale. Oh, he did notice that. Wait, no, heroes both can choose their ordnance. It's the protectors that don't get an ordnance choice. Okay. This appears to be just a little bit cheaper, but it is in fact the same for the ion cannons, getting rid of the grav hooks. Yeah, nothing new there. Okay. Defender. Oh, that's where all the firepower went. We found the lost firepower, guys. Strength 5.
Oh, good Lord.
2 hits on the defender. But its grav launcher's only 1.
Okay. But
Okay.
Even then, that for Tau, it's not the defender that would deserve 2 hits. It would be the Castellan.
Yeah, but the defender's actually really big, Mini. I can see them giving him that second quote-unquote hit. I still wouldn't take it over the original because I'm here for the torpedoes. I'm not here for weapons batteries. I'm a Tau player. I'm here for torpedoes. I'm not here for a strength 1 torpedo either.
I could actually see an argument for 2 hits on the messenger purely because of its lore use.
Yeah, maybe. But again, I don't agree with escorts generally unless it's fleet literally unique to a fleet to ever get 2 hits on an escort. Are the messengers identical? They have tracking systems. That is a difference. This can be put into other squadrons. That can be added to other squadrons. Okay, the Orca.
It could be added to the larger escorts normally, so.
Yeah. Okay, Orca. No, normally they can't be added to any escort. They have to be alone.
No, they can join Castellans and Defenders.
Oh, you're right. Okay, my bad. My apologies. Okay, Orcas appear to be the same. Railgun 2, ion cannon. Yep, that's exactly the same. Okay, we're on to the custodian. Let's see how they've hurt my baby, if at all. Battleship 10, 20, 45, 3, 6, 5, 4. That's the same. 6, 6, 1,
The
1.
battery layout. Battery layout is very different.
No, it's the same. Port starboard, front left, front right. It's exactly the same.
They format in a different way in this.
Yeah. You take 3 wardens, launch capacity 6. This is exactly the same. They have prow deflectors, and they have tracking systems. So that's entirely identical. Yep. Protector, let's see how they fucked this thing up. Because if they fucked up the hero, let's see how they fucked up the Protector. 185 to 180, so this is cheaper. 22611. 1 squadron 5. It's exactly the same. Huh. They just made it cheaper. Shrug. Hold on. Up to half of the Protector's class cruiser fleet round down may reduce the strength of their prow railgun to 4 to increase the range of the ion cannons to 45. Which is the other version. Normal. Yeah. That's so a 5-point decrease in cost. Emissaries. I do like how I have 2 different profiles here. It's just a better overall look. 44112, that's the same. And the other one can get with ion cannons or a Grau Pravitic launcher. Launch bay for the launcher. Yeah, exactly the same.
Oh, did they take away the gun emissary?
No, it's still there. You can take a wait. I don't think there is a gun emissary. Hold on. There's the grav hook one with grav launcher. There's a grav hook one with launch bay, and there's one that has no grav hook and 2 ion cannons. So that's the gun one, and yes, it does exist here.
Okay.
Okay, so they've reduced the cost of the Castellan. It's entirely identical. Okay. I don't know why they made it cheaper. This thing is freaking vicious. It deserves to be 50 points. Okay, the Warden, 30 points. It's entirely identical. Okay. So really what this feels very much like the Eldar. They basically took it and slapped it really hard in the hero and made sure that no Tau player could ever be happy again with their hero. So predictably, I expect that Tom is quite happy with the changes and Mark is not.
I think it's kind of boring, really.
It doesn't affect much of anything, to be honest. But it's because the one change in the fleet is so heavily targeted into one ship. It's definitely a vendetta.
Yeah, it feels arbitrary, right? It's not a rework. It's not a rebalance. It's not encompassing the fleet as a whole. It's just going, don't like that ship.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for coming and joining me in this endeavor. I feel like I have survived this nightmare, and I want to thank everyone in the chat for also joining us. We've been at this now for about 2.5 hours, and we've gotten through a pretty hefty chunk of the fleets. We didn't look at the Necrons. We didn't look at the Orcs. I recommend all of you go and look at these ships yourselves. Make your own judgment. Obviously, we're a bunch of vicious, bitter clingers to the original rules, but I personally am not a fan of about 90% of the changes that they've made. What do you guys think?
I don't think it's a radical enough remake to make it a whole separate game, and so I don't see why this needs to exist when the remastered list also exists. Ironically, it's not enough of a change to justify its own existence, really. and so I just feel this adds to confusion. I'm not hugely impressed by a lot of it.
There's some real gems hidden in there. There are a couple small changes that are actually good. It's just there's no consistency or coherence to the changes, and that's what kills it.
Adam, forgive me if I'm going to murder this last name. Krivenyi asks, what is your problem with multi-wound escorts? They are not that smaller than from light cruisers in the lore. It would be nice, for example, frigates to have frigates with 2 wounds and destroyers with 1 wound. Not a veteran player, so keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to give my answer to this, and I figure Mark and Tom will have their own opinion. One, we're talking about a convention of firepower in this game. At a certain reduction in size for escorts, the firepower that's being unleashed here, below a certain mass, it doesn't matter. Escorts are meant to die rapidly. Also, it is much harder to balance a 2-hit escort than a 1-hit escort. People like to talk about escorts dying like flies. They're actually ridiculously resilient. Also, remember that a lot of victory points are calculated, especially with escorts, based upon how much of the squadron is destroyed. If I have double the number of hit points in that squadron, it is suddenly quadruple the time harder to kill it, to actually get the victory points for that squadron. So the balancing has not been done appropriately for multi-hit or heavy escorts. Giving it to things like the Hellbore is just insane. I wonder if some of the Orc escorts have multiple hits. Maybe the Brute or the Savage Gunship have it. Or the Grunt, maybe. Oh, I'm in the Orc section. I might as well take a look.
I was going to say, Drink, I've seen this Terror ship. It's got better heavy guns and things, and it's cheaper. I love it.
I mean, I'm definitely an Orc. Yes, they do actually have higher shooty for their guns. I do like that. I have to look and see what heavy guns do.
I like the fact that heavy guns have got a range which is actually usable. I don't even know what the rules for heavy guns are. The fact their range is not 15, I'm immediately a fan of that.
I think the heavy guns were given entirely separate rules. We may have to do another video for this, but the reason ultimately, Adam, is because one, it has not been attempted to be properly balanced. It causes violations in the cripple rules. Like, why are they immune to being crippled? They should be more susceptible to being crippled. They're smaller. They're more fragile by definition. And if you need a ship that is multi-hit, why not just make that thing a light cruiser?
Yeah, because of especially things like gunnery table having its own separate column for escorts and so forth. Like, if you want to have those kind of ships, why not use the rules for light cruiser, but only make it 2 wounds or whatever, and then it'd be probably easier to point cost.
Also, right here, the Jackal has 2 hits. Yeah, that's right. Let's give the Necrons 2-hit escorts. Seems like a great idea, right, guys? Right? Oh God, what are they doing here? Oh man, they looks like they've added a lot of interesting stuff here for the Necrons. They added a Grand Cruiser. Okay. They added
options on the Shroud.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, the Shroud, I do not like the basic Shroud as a ship.
Oh, I love it.
I would admittedly love it if it had 6 hits at the same points. I would love it. It would then actually get into the fight. But it's a bit of a liability otherwise.
No, I love the Shroud because anybody who thinks it's meant to actually get into a fight is wrong. It's designed solely to be over on the other end of the table and annoy the fuck out of your opponent because they don't know what the hell it does, because nobody knows what a Shroud does.
Even then, you get the one person that at least knows what it does. They can easily hunt that thing down without too much difficulty, and then it's just a liability.
But nobody does!
What's the Necron Grand Cruiser do? Because this guy clearly loves Grand Cruiser, because every single Grand Cruiser for every faction we've seen so far, their Grand Cruiser has been amazing. So what's the Necron Grand Cruiser?
Okay, so the Necron Grand Cruiser has a lightning arc, 12, front, left, right, 5 particle whips at 45! Whoa! Okay. A star pulse generator and portals. Okay. Nebuloscope pylons. Every vessel in the fleet gains an extra 1 leadership to its command checks from the enemy context modifier. So it's a super shroud. Stephen Smith, this is the only active BFG channel, isn't it? Probably. Um, I, I'm not going to be upset. It means I get the attention, but I would love to see more activity for BFG. I'm doing everything I can, but I could use help. But yeah, 10 hit cruiser, 25% speed. I don't know if their major rules are different. Nightmare Field, I think, is the same. Star Pulse Generator is the same. Lightning Arc is the same. Particle Whip. Particle Whip is the same. Okay. Basically, everything is the same. You have Necron Dynasty upgrades. Following upgrades found on the newer Necron fleets have been observed. Cost for each may be found in the Dynasty list. A Bloodswarm Necroscarab adds 1 to their portal attacks. That's nice. Okay, I would take that. Inertialist Drive. Nope, it's right here. There's the Inertialist Drive. Don't worry, Anthony. They've got all the bullshit. Let's see. They have reactive hulls, so they have exactly everything. At the beginning of each game, all Necron ships fleet must conserve power. Ships conserving power must, if they were crippled for all game purposes, except scoring and victory conditions. In addition, such vessels will automatically phase out if turned into a drifting or burning hulk. Huh. Escalating threat. During the game, whenever an enemy ship or ordnance marker inflicts an unsaved hit, gains 1 alert level. What?
Hey, keep reading. It's literally just padding rules to try and slow Necrons down in the early game, and yeah.
So hang on a minute. So not only are they sleepy on the planets, are they sleepy in their ships as well?
Yeah, it actually makes them even. They're sleepy on their ships. It's really stupid. This is even worse because it means somebody got their ass beat by Necrons and then didn't realize how easy it is to beat Necrons. They were literally given easy mode and then were mad about it. Okay, for everyone watching this, if you're playing against a Necron player, you can easily win by killing 1 cruiser. Okay, unlimited power at the start of each Necron turn. Note the fleet's current alert level and look up corresponding row in the table below. Each Necron capital ship whose leadership value equals or exceeds the indicated threshold may awaken. So you need leadership 10 or higher to awaken. Awaken vessels cease conserving power. Why would their traveling warships conserve power? They don't need to conserve power. These people literally enslave stars for funsies. They blow them up when they trip over the wrong button.
From a games design perspective as well. So I've got random tables and random roles to be allowed to start actually playing the game that I'm, spending my time and money and effort on. I loathe it. This is a terrible game design.
This rule is purely for those that felt like Battlefleet Gothic didn't have enough bookkeeping.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe they fix it in the Dynasty list. Nope.
Well, the caffeine dynasty, they're awake.
Yeah, I mean, I would make one just for that rule, just to ignore that. But, I mean, you could buy a Nemesaur and it instantly ignore. But it doesn't make any difference. If the Necron fleet is active, they're not asleep. Necrons do not drift their fleets through space in a shutdown state. That is actually against the lore. The ships are always manned. Jesus Christ!
Meh.
I mean, I like the ships and I like the modifications to them. but that sole rule that basically says, pump the brakes, bro. You're not allowed to have fun in this game. I mean, they've been amping up the firepower of every other race except for the Tau.
No. They only amps the firepower of the Imperial Navy. Actually, everyone else has some minor tweaks, but the Imperial Navy just got guns on top of guns with guns, bro, and a points cost reduction.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much potential here because if you just removed like this entire section here, the Necrons I would actually say the Necrons would have been improved by this, because I think that we do need to add a I think the Necrons need a new tomb ship, they need a new cruiser, and they need a new light cruiser and a new escort to really finish their fleet. Give them a lot of, flush. And I like this Grand Cruiser. I like this thing. I love Grand Cruisers. I'm a fan, right? But
as are the writers of this book.
But they did it all in the wrong way. So I would say, if you want more Grand Cruisers, either make a fleet solely dedicated to Grand Cruisers, make a whole new fleet, which is what I'm doing, and make new Grand Cruisers. You want to have a Grand Cruiser with torpedoes? Make a unique Grand Cruiser for a new fleet, right? Anthony Dale says, strange, all this hull patching and no Necron carrier.
I know, right? Where are my Doom Scythes? 5th edition 40k player, I'm not happy.
Yeah. But yeah, jeez.
I think one thing we'll say for this rules is, from my very limited experience where Battlefield Gothic is now, and from my knowledge of the game in general, I think this rules set is clearly, like you, Zelnick, has identified problems or knows of problems within the core rule set, right? Like certain ships or certain things about certain factions, and it is suggesting to make changes to address those problems. Now, I don't think it succeeds very well in addressing those problems, and I think it introduces a lot of new ones. But I will give it the credit for it is trying to, broadly speaking, make changes where a lot of us can see where there are problems in the core rule set. I think that's a fair comment to make.
I think they're trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. The problems that they're trying to fix here are not, at least from what I can understand, relevant to the actual problems of Battlefield Gothic. The problems that they do fix, they fix very well, like explaining turret suppression. And every now and then there's a ship in here that desperately needs help that they give help to, aka the Solaris. And then it's like they took the Black Library pill and decided, you know what? I know better than the guys who wrote this, and I'm going to make it my way. And I've often heard that a lot of the motivation, I've heard this exactly from Excalibur, it's all about giving the players choice. No, the players don't get to choose. The only choice the players get is to play the game and what race you want to play, based upon the limitations that are presented to you by their fleet lists. What this does is effectively start removing those limitations. If you are a friend of the Imperium or a human player, you're going to get a lot of cool shit. You're going to get a lot of really cool shit. Heaven fucking forbid that you play an alien. Say I like playing Eldar. I'm terribly sorry to everyone out there, but I like Knife Ears. Or if I like Tau. Or really scandalous, I like playing Tyranids or Necrons. Well, buddy, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to pump those brakes on you. Good and hard. We can't let you have fun. We need to make sure that we have our fun first, and then maybe we'll let you have fun later. That's what I'm seeing here. This is the same equivalent kind of problem that I encountered when I was young playing 40k and I was trying to play Tau, and I had to deal with a bunch of Space Marine players who consistently and constantly gave me shit for daring to not play the right chapter of Space Marines. And this is what it feels like when I'm reading this rule set. It feels like, I'm sorry, you're not playing the right BFG. You need to play our BFG. Fun for you, as Katie has said, is illegal. That's what I'm seeing here. There is inspired elements of XR that I can openly say, good idea, kudos. I will drink to that. But there is someone in XR, or some people in XR, that is saying, but you're not allowed to have fun. Does it sound like I'm going crazy, guys?
No, I don't think
at all.
so.
Also, with the giving players choices thing, is that with how they've designed a chunk of the stuff, it's just like you've given them more choices and removed any choice that they have. Because now you're gonna take that one ship that clearly outclasses everything both above and below its weight class. Thunderhawks now do everything. There's no choice there anymore. It's given you options, but removed all of your options by having a very clearly better choice.
Yep. All right, guys. Now, I will very likely be coming back later to do the rest of this fleet. If you guys are, yeah, Anthony Dale, hi, Oberon. Absolutely. Why would you take anything else? I would very much like it if you gentlemen would come back for us to finish the alien section at a later date. But you guys, it is probably vastly too late for you guys even to imagine thinking at the moment. I want to thank you both for coming and joining me. I want to thank everyone watching this. I hope this has been illuminating. I tried to give XR the benefit of the doubt by going through the rules. I hope this has at least enlightened some of you as to the nature of XR and what it can do to a hobby. This is what happens when the wrong philosophy emerges for the game. This is the price of unlimited empathy. Trying to give everybody a cool choice, and then what you do is you overbalance the game and make impossible to not take ships. It's very similar to a problem in BFG right now with Space Marines and their extra shield. That's a problem. It is a big problem because there's no reason to never take it. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming and watching this stream. We will see you again at the next stream. Have a